they gave me that. It was a Roxy 30.
Yep.
Gave me that guy. I go. It's dark at this point, and I'm still at my parents' house, and I'm in my room. I think they went to bed, so it was like pitch black in my house, and it like gives me anxiety talking about this particular night, which stuff way worse happened later in life, but for whatever reason, this was like the seed was planted, like another seed, but this was like the next level, the next chapter. I break that thing in half, and I crushed, I think, half of it, and I snorted it, and I was just chilling out, like playing video games or something, and I got this feeling like, I want to say it was like 45 minutes later. I don't remember. It was like a while, enough for me to be like, what the hell? Like,
that was a ripoff?
Yeah, exactly. So I go and I break the other half in half.
Ooh, buddy.
And hit that other quarter. And then that's when it hit me really, really, really hard. I got super nauseous.
Yep.
And it was like my skin was on fire, kind of. Not in a bad way, but like to where it was like vibrating. I just never felt that before, ever.
Okay, we are back. Aaron's back. Nice to have my partner in crime back.
Can I touch you?
You can touch me.
It's good to be back.
I feel the love.
Yeah.
I've been doing some solos, so it's not quite as fun, but we have Devon
Rodgers
with us from Indianapolis.
Yes.
Drove down.
Yep.
4 hours.
3 hours. 3 hours.
3 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not bad.
We're on now, and
No,
like good scenery. 70 straight down. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
I get on 70 right by my house, and then it's 70 the whole way.
Shit.
Are you a Colts fan? Nah, doesn't really matter.
Kind of have to be, but like not
NFL.
Like Heaven's Gate? Oh no.
No.
Okay.
Football.
Sorry,
Yeah.
my bad.
No, it's kind of like you're in trouble if you're not, but I don't.
Don't they kind of
subscribe to
suck
it,
anyway?
really.
Like I don't ever hear.
No, they don't suck. They're just like kind of mid.
The only time I've followed it is because we were having get-togethers. It had
Right.
nothing to
So
do
you're
with
just like
me actually
keeping
caring
tabs
about it.
just
Yeah.
for social gatherings.
Yes.
It's good.
Yeah, pretty
Sounds
much.
like a good plan.
Well, I'm gonna come visit you in 2 weeks.
Do it.
I'll be down there
There's
for the Broncos game.
There's a lot to do in Indy. A whole lot to do.
It's a big-ass city, though.
It's on the
Give
up
me a
and up.
restaurant.
A restaurant that's
Just give.
special to Indy. It would have to be
I
something
hear
in
there's
Broad
a,
Ripple.
there's like a steakhouse that down there. My dad was telling me about. I can't think of the name, but it's like got a ton of history.
It's like a St. Elmo's.
That's
St.
what
Elmo's
it is.
Fire?
Yeah, that's
Like
what
the
it
movie?
is. St. Elmo's.
I don't know what that is.
That's
St.
what
Elmo's
it
Fire,
is.
the movie?
Nope.
Oh boy,
It's lost on me.
man,
either.
it's a good Rat Pack movie. Anywho,
That's what it is.
Oh yeah, St. Elmo's. That's popular. It's like P.F. Chang's, and it's like that whole.
Should I book a reservation like now?
It's fantastic. I haven't been there in like 2 years, maybe. When are you going to Indy?
2 weeks.
Yeah, you should book it.
Okay.
Yeah, for
Alright,
sure.
Good to know.
Yeah,
I'll do
that's
that.
like 10. St. Elmo's is like maybe 5 or 10 minutes from my house.
Right on.
It's delicious.
are they that busy where you have to book it that
It's
far
like
out?
there's so much history.
It's that and P.F. Chang's. It's
P.F.
that little
Chang's is
area.
popping down there.
Yeah, it's the area like on the circle and like around that area. It's like you'll have like the local homeless people will like hang out outside of St. Elmo's to like get extras as they come out.
Good for
And
them.
they're just like normal, you know. They just kind of live there now.
Yeah.
Outside of P.F. Chang's
Yeah.
and St. Elmo's.
Yeah.
It's rough.
They want the good
It's
life,
rough.
you know what I
We're
mean?
getting mail there too.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. Let's start at childhood for Devon.
Childhood.
Tell us how you grew up.
So I live in Indianapolis now. I grew up in a little tiny town called Pittsburgh, and it's like west of Indianapolis, surrounded by cornfields.
Okay.
There's nothing out there.
I saw Cicero on your caller ID.
I don't know why. I have nothing to do with Cicero. I get asked that like once
I got
a week.
excited.
Yeah. What are you
I'm
familiar
a
with Cicero?
Better Call Saul fan.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, I like Better Call Saul as well. The Cicero, I don't know why my phone says that. Cicero's like way north. It's another tiny little town that I have nothing to
Yeah.
do with. I've been worked there. You know, that's it. Done work there. But Pittsburgh is like way out west, middle of cornfield. When I went there, it was like our elementary school. was still on the property with the old one-room schoolhouse.
Oh, boy.
That was there. So like it was like a special thing we would do. Like
You go
where-
over and walk over
yeah,
to the
pretend
creepy
like we were
one
like
room.
roll a little wooden wheel with a stick for the day. And,
Oh.
you know what I mean?
Any urban legends,
like-
like creepy legends about the one room, like
Nothing that
6
we didn't
kids
make
murdered.
up. Like they say that it was moved from place to place. Like at one point because there was like I don't know what happened. I don't know. You could say like it was a fire or whatever and everything burned down, but in reality it was probably just like general construction and they just moved it over.
Right.
Damn,
Right.
damn it,
Yeah, you know how
dream
how it
killer.
goes. We'd go there and like pretend that we had like rode a horse to school, and I couldn't like fathom that when I was little. I guess probably because I had so much anxiety being like a little kid. I remember sitting in that one-room schoolhouse, and they're like asking all the kids like, okay, how did you get to school today? And they're hoping that the kids will just like make up some
Like cool, like
like historic way of traveling. And I was like, I rode the bus. They all looked at me like I was ridiculous, and I didn't pick up on what was happening.
man.
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
But that little town, it's not so little anymore, but it still has like the same kind of small town feel. But
Community type feel.
yeah, absolutely. And when you're that young, you're like, it feels like it's, middle or upper middle class. As you grow up, you kind of see all the skeletons behind the closets and, stuff like that. And it's different than what you think it is when you're a little kid. You think everybody's well off, everybody's doing
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
but it's really kind of a not great little spot. But all of the communities around it have like engulfed on it. So now it's surrounded. It still has cornfields all the way around it, but right on the other side of those cornfields, you're like almost in the city now.
Really.
But when I was there, there's one stoplight when I lived there. And that's kind of where like the story actually begins. I was, before that, we're talking, I was born till I was like 6 years old. I moved to Pittsburgh when I was 6. Before that, it was just me and my mom. We lived in a little trailer, again, out in a cornfield somewhere. And that was in Noblesville, Indiana, and I kind of was raised by my grandparents at that point, up until about 6, and then I made it to Pittsburgh. That's when my mom met who would then become my stepdad, and that's when, the reason I say Pittsburgh is because that's like where it starts in my mind.
Okay.
I often forget about before because I was so little, but we didn't really have a whole lot. And like I said, it was just me and my mom. Once she met who would be my stepdad, life started changing. I got, started like making friends. I'd never had that before because I didn't have any siblings or anything. So I was just kind of me in my imagination. And so meets my stepdad.
How's stepdad?
That was we have a great relationship now, and we had a great relationship too.
They're
when
still
I was
together.
Little. Yeah, they're still together.
Oh, wow.
Good for them.
Yeah, I had never met my biological dad. He's not in the picture at all. There was a quick like almost meeting that happened years later, which I'll talk about later. But otherwise, he's non-existent in our lives. But my stepdad, when I met him, we got along great because I was really little and I just wanted to be like him, And he's like old school Catholic, fishing, hunting, like you go to work and then you retire and that's how you get to heaven. And you die, and that's the
That
whole
easy, huh?
purpose here. Yeah, it's just
Man.
that.
All right.
And he's since moved away from that a little bit more, but back then it was like hardcore. But you know how it goes. Things start to change as I become like a preteen, teenager,
Yep.
And so at that point we didn't get along very well. But all of those years before being a teenager, I'm in this little school, little tiny town. All of the kids that went to that school, I say all of them generally, but their parents knew each other. They all like were babies together.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And then I'm here as like a new kid, but luckily it was like first grade, so they didn't have a lot of time before
No
me.
clicks already. Yeah.
Yeah, but their parents were. So their parents all knew each other. So I'm like trying to integrate. I guess my mom and I are both trying to integrate into this like little society they had. And looking back, I had like severe anxiety and like severe OCD tendencies. I had like all these little things that nobody would notice back in the 90s, you know, at that time.
As a kid.
Yeah, oh yeah.
What were some of the weird quirks?
Like, looking back, and I only realized this within the last like 5 years, I was terrified of like everything. Like, I had no idea, and this plays a huge part in my story, but I was like terrified of the dark, of like heights, of like literally anything that
Everything.
Yeah, everything. People, like if they were older, if they were like,
So social anxiety.
oh, bad. And I picked it up because like, well, I picked up on it because looking back, like even being in elementary school, like if I was eating around people, like I'd be real quiet. And like I'd make sure I didn't leave any crumbs or trash, or
Really?
I wouldn't get up in class to use the bathroom because I didn't want any attention on me.
Wow.
I always
Damn.
thought I was considerate. That's what I thought. But as I got older,
Yeah.
I realized like something had happened.
Something's not
Yeah.
normal.
Yeah, to make me like feel like, okay, I don't want any attention on me. I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want anything. And that's when like all of that kind of comes back to like my stepdad and I not getting along and things getting kind of a little more brutal as I got a little older. And he had his own, he's an awesome human being and he's a good person. He had his own things going on, and like he was married before he met my mom. There was a situation there, and he ended up getting divorced. My mom and
I assume the situation was not good.
no, and all he was doing was going to work and then coming home, and going to work and coming home. He worked as a UPS driver. She was doing something else while he was at work.
Gotcha.
So he didn't have any kids with her or anything, but I think that made him a little,
Yeah.
you know,
That'll do some
different.
damage. Yeah.
on edge. And then comes the, you know, you've got this step kid now that's like got all these weird tendencies,
Yeah.
and he's like scared of everything and crying all the time and like just wants his mom because I was raised with her for the first like 6 years.
Sure.
And so he just starts to get angrier and angrier and angrier and not knowing how to deal with it. His whole family's like super, you know, Catholic, religious and stuff. And yeah, I think it like did something to me for sure. Didn't know it back then, obviously, but you're just kind of going through the motions. When I got a little older, those anxieties started to like come out in like ways that I could notice. Like I remember one day in particular. When I say a little older, I'm saying like I'm probably like 10 maybe. I remember like going to the park in town in Pittsburgh, and I had like a couple friends with me, and then there was like some older kids, and it was like those older kids in town, like they were the ones who, you know, people talked about maybe they did drugs, maybe they did these other like things that were
Sure.
scary, and like the friends I was with didn't have these same fears at all, so they're like you know, just walking right up to them, and I'm like petrified for absolutely no reason at all. So when I'm like 10 to 12, that's when I'm like, okay, I'm tired of being scared of everything. I'm tired of feeling like this. I'm tired of like this like weird tension between my stepdad and myself, and I just got tired of all of that. And so I started wanting to become like more aggressive and more, you know, like outgoing, and like I
Sure.
needed that, you know what I mean?
We all do.
I think
Human
so.
connection. I mean,
I th-
something. Yeah.
I think so. I like needed to prove myself, and that's when like the ego was like born. You know what I mean? And the way I explained that was probably all over the place, but I'm just now realizing some of this stuff like years and years later.
Yeah.
So I'm still like processing this stuff now today. So after all of that, you know, all of the random stuff being little, I get into middle school, middle school in Pittsburgh was a combination of 3 towns put together because all the towns were too small to have their own, like, middle school, high school. So it's
Okay.
like 3 towns put together.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And so that births a whole new thing because I'm from Pittsburgh. It's like sort of middle class, sort of not. But then it's like we mix with these other 2 towns that are even further out in the woods. And they're smaller than Pittsburgh is. So then I meet all of these kids, and they're like the derelicts, the
Yeah.
outcasts, you know, the way that they look and dress and talk and stuff. And I was like, these are my people.
Those
Sure,
are my
I'm
people.
sure.
You know what I mean? Like fearless, like skateboarding, like doing all the things that I just like wanted to be, not because I wanted that.
Was
but-
there poverty in those other 2
Yeah.
towns?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I figured. Yeah.
Yes. And their parents seemed so much cooler because they were also like impoverished and stuff. Now, when
Yeah.
you're young, you don't realize that's what it is. You just think they're cool.
They're
They'll
just
let you
laid
do
back
whatever.
parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're cool. They'll let you do whatever.
Yeah.
And, you know, so meeting those kids, like I saw them like playing guitar and stuff and like for like show and tell, things like that early in middle school. And I was like, that's what I want to do. I saw one kid who become like my best friend. He brought his guitar in, like 6th grade, and he was like playing something. And he's got like people around him. It's like all these other kids watching him. And I'm like, if I can do that,
I need that.
then
That'd feel good.
yeah, I won't be like the weird kid
Yeah.
over here. So that was my goal. So I did. I like begged my parents to get me a guitar and all this, and eventually I did, and that's kind of the path I went down. In the meantime, like I was learned to skateboard, and that's where all my time went, was riding into town, bringing my skateboard.
It's not like unhealthy or anything.
No, it was normal. We
Yeah.
weren't like out there like robbing people or
No.
doing, you know, the stuff that the early 2000s
Yeah.
skater kids, like, you know,
Mhm.
you think they were doing.
Yeah.
But we weren't like doing anything crazy. We were just being kids. But you know, at the time also it's small town, so you got like 3 cops and they see kids with skateboards.
And they all know you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and we weren't doing drugs or anything at that point, but they were still like all over us all the time.
course.
And I almost think that you know slightly kind of pushes something in the direction that they thought it was going already, but it wasn't. You know,
Yeah.
and they put you in handcuffs to scare you because you're like skateboarding on a sidewalk that they don't want you to skateboard on.
God.
Or they heard fireworks somewhere and they're emptying our pockets because they think we're the ones lighting off fireworks.
They're
Um,
that bored.
Oh yeah, there was nothing to do there, nothing at all. And actually, and I know like people say this stuff all the time, but several of those police officers back then, they're no longer there. Like one of them up and left with his family, like gone, because there was a situation like domestic between the officer and his wife, and like missing like evidence, like laptops and stuff. The reason I know this is not hearsay because his son was like my best friend
Damn.
in elementary school.
And the dad cop's messing with you and him, his own son.
No, he wasn't. It wasn't him.
Oh, he wasn't part of the
No.
skateboard brigade.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
He was cool to us. Like he let us like ride in the car and he'd turn the lights on just to like scare people, and like. But that also speaks
Just
to
to scare
you know what I mean. He'd say, "Watch
Right.
this. I'm gonna freak this guy,"
Check
you know,
this
and he'd
out.
turn his lights on and then follow him for a little while
It's
and
kind of fun.
Jesus.
turn him off. Yeah, we were kids though. We just thought, you know,
It's funny.
he's cool. You
Yeah.
know, he's fun.
Yeah.
But like I went to my grandparents one weekend, my great grandparents, just to like spend the weekend over there. And I came back, and my friend and his family was gone, and his house was empty.
Wow, that quick.
Yeah, over a weekend.
Damn.
Damn.
Yeah, I say that because it's like sounds like it was I heard this happen, but
Sure.
like it for sure happened.
Yeah.
And I never saw him again, ever. Never heard from him because we didn't have social media or anything
Right.
at that point. So it was just boom, gone. And then there was another officer who got in trouble for like having relations with like girls in town, and,
Oh.
like girls in school and stuff.
Oh God.
So they
Yeah.
were bored.
Oh, for
As
sure.
Shit.
None
Yeah.
of them are there anymore. Now it's like they have their own little like SWAT team and DEA and stuff, which is crazy because it's like a 3-block town. But I also understand too because I watched that happen. I watched that town get
The development
Yeah.
of that.
yes. Being older, I get it. People are dying left and right. I mean,
Yeah.
what are they supposed to do?
Right.
At some point that they're doing what they know how to do. But, I'm getting into skateboarding, getting, talked to by police every day, and I'm getting into music. And that's kind of like where things change for me, because I got that guitar, and that's all I wanted to do was skateboard and play guitar. So when I'm at school, I'm thinking about guitar. And when I'm not at school, I'm playing the guitar. And I was like, I have to get good enough at this where I can play with other people. That was like my whole thing. So I'm going to practice, and then all of a sudden, here we are. MySpace is a thing now. And I didn't know what it was or anything, so I made a MySpace, and I start looking like for kids in those other couple towns that I could play music with. And I met a couple kids in a town like close to ours, in Brownsburg, who played guitar, and they were from a little bit of a more well-off family, so like their parents had bought them like they had a really nice space, nice equipment, things like that. And I was like, hey Mom, I found these people online, and I'm gonna go play music with them, but I need you to take me over there. And she's like, okay, and just took me over there, and they became like my now best friends. Okay. I spent all my time over there. At this time, when I started playing music, I was probably like 12. But I met those kids when I was about 13. And that's when like drugs sort of start becoming a thing, but not for me. So like that's when I noticed that it existed. Because like there was a kid that was in my town who like got arrested at school for having a roach in his shoe.
For a roach, you got arrested.
Oh yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, they ain't messing around out there.
Yeah, no.
Jeez.
For a roach.
They didn't play at all. But we were like, I mean, he was in 8th grade probably. So.
Damn.
And then there was another kid like at the end of the year who got, was all pilled out, and I didn't know what that stuff really was, but I watched them drag him out, and his like pants were around his ankles because he was just drooling all over himself, And so that's when I'm like, okay, like some people here smoke weed, and I'm like, smoke drugs. Like I didn't know what any of this was. And when I found out like that it existed, I was like super against it, and all of my friends were too. You know how that goes.
From my freshman year, I was the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I was terrified of drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, dude. That's how it was for me too.
Like,
and I didn't want to be associated with it, and my friends I played music with didn't want to be associated with it. And we were getting into some like we played like really heavy music at that time, like really aggressive, like very heavy music, and their parents were really supportive of it. My parents were really supportive of it, so we ended up traveling, and like their parents would book us with places. In places
Damn.
like every week.
What kind of
every
places
weekend.
we talking? Like kids' birthday parties or?
No, we were going to like Atlanta, and going to North Carolina and Georgia, Savannah, Georgia, and we would go. Where else would we go? We went to Chicago a couple times, and then in Indianapolis as well.
you guys are pretty good.
We were going all over the place.
I mean,
don't know if we
what
were
kind
good,
of venue are we talking? Like, how do you?
A lot of them were bars, but back then, if you played, you were allowed in. You just couldn't be at the bar.
Okay.
And then a lot of them also didn't care. But then some of them were like Warped Tour. I don't know if you're familiar with that stuff.
Was that Limp Bizkit?
Long time ago,
Yeah,
it was
I
Limp
remember
Bizkit.
Yeah.
But that same kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Festivals, stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. But, none of us could drive or anything. Two of them were brothers, the guitar player and the drummer. The drummer was a little bit older, so I was 13, he was 16. He did get a license at some point, and then we were able to go off and do our own thing. But that whole time frame, it was just playing music, and I started losing all interest in school at that point. Not because of drugs or anything, because I just felt like I couldn't focus. I couldn't think. All I did was think about playing music when I was at school.
At any point, was it like, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I thought that for sure. I was like, I had convinced myself that that was the path I was going to be on, so why not just do it now?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like,
Get a jump on it.
yeah, just go at it early. And so that whole time period was a lot of fun, but then, you know, some of the people I'm playing music with start experimenting with things, and, you know, and we're talking like smoking weed and like, you know, nothing
But
crazy.
these are kids you trust.
Yes.
And you've known them since.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really one of them, and then we were all like, well, we got to like get rid of that guy, you know, but they're friends, and then now there's 2 of them doing it, now there's 3 of them doing it, and now I'm the only one not, and eventually I'm like, you know,
Fuck it.
yeah, we'll try it. But I always hated that feeling. Like, I hated the feeling of them having it in the car. I hated the feeling of, I was just so paranoid already as a person.
Right.
So it's like, I'm thinking like, they're all having fun. I can't have fun because all I'm thinking about is I'm going to be in trouble. I'm going to be in trouble. My dad's going to kill me. You know, like that's all I could think about. But eventually I tried it.
How'd that go?
What was the experience like?
I went to a park, that same park where I was talking about. We went to the park and those kids were there earlier. I went to that park. There's a gas station there. It's a Circle K. We went inside the gas station. We bought some Lifesavers and went and sat on the picnic tables, like right next to the gas station, and rolled it up in this freaking Lifesavers wrapper.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Jesus, man.
And then I smoked it and I threw up everywhere, and I felt nothing at all.
Oh.
But I was just coughing and dying and throwing up, and like, you know, looking back, you know, I was like, oh, that was cool, but I didn't. There was nothing.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like fun.
No, it wasn't at all. But it was just like me and one of the other kids, and like I said, we had no license yet.
Was he cool?
Yeah,
did he get high and shit, and like he enjoyed it?
He had done it before.
Okay.
So
what the hell is up with the Lifesaver?
Is it the white paper? Because I think it has like a
It was-
white paper in
yes.
the middle
Inside.
of it.
yes,
okay.
it was that inside wrapper.
Okay.
Because that's what I was thinking. I was like, who smokes the wrapper? But I was like, oh, then you
Yeah.
open it, it's got the white part.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, no, it I don't think I did anything at all, but you know, that was just the initial experience. And then, you know, I moved on to like the apple core and the Sprite can and the, you know, and then eventually I don't even remember this, but I know I started liking it at some point.
Right.
I don't remember when that was. I don't remember the first time I actually felt it. I just know that I didn't want to lose the people I was playing music with. That was like my whole future.
You felt like you had to do it to fit in and
Yeah.
stay with the crowd.
I did, yeah. And I feel like people sometimes might be afraid to say that or say, you know, speak like that, but it really is. It really was like that. I was nervous as hell. Everything in me wanted to walk away, but you know, I didn't. And I should have prefaced this by saying, like, my mom was always really cool, and she encouraged me to like talk to her about stuff. So like, even back then when I like tried weed and stuff, like I told her that happened, and she was always like pretty like supportive in that stuff. I
That's
think she
cool.
just didn't want me to like
Back then,
dip
that's
out,
that's
you know?
rare. I feel.
I feel like that too.
Yeah.
My stepdad, different story. He didn't know, and he didn't need to know.
Right.
That was the
Does he
Right.
think you're weird already? Because like now
Yes.
you skateboard and you play guitar.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Like
Yeah, and by
yeah.
this time, I had like spiked hair, and it
Oh,
was like
God.
colored. I had gauges in my ears, and my
Did you?
lips
so you went
pierced.
full on
Dude,
with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Damn.
like, I wanted to have that image because I was so scared all the time. So I wanted to be seen as like,
Like don't mess with him. He's
yeah,
crazy.
like, yeah, there was a sense of that, like where I just wanted to, like, I wanted to have tattoos, like when I was way early, you know, like way early on. I wanted people to have that shock and awe, like I did when I was around other people, you know.
Yeah.
I wish I could explain that better, because I think that is like the driving force in the next 10 years of my life.
The core.
Yes.
Yeah.
The OCD, the extreme anxiety, and just wanting people to be like, oh, he's not afraid of anything.
Well, it screams self-medication is what
Yeah.
it screams.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes. Yeah.
at some point, we're
Yeah.
going to medicate, whether it's a doctor or self-medication.
Yeah. And there was some of that where, like, my mom had taken me to see this person and this person, because at that time, I mean, I grew up in like the Viva La Bam era, like
Yeah.
that's what was popping, the
Oh, yeah.
CKY, all that stuff
Oh,
was
yeah.
going on at the time. So the parents, and it wasn't on the internet, it wasn't in everybody's faces yet, so they're like, oh my gosh, it's infiltrating our small town. Like, and you know, these kids are diabolical, they're devilish, they're, you know, all these things, and we just fed into it, you know. We were like, yeah, you know, like writing 666 on stuff, like just stupid, you know.
Anarchy.
Yeah, absolutely
Anarchy,
ridiculous.
That's hilarious.
But it really was like that, because you're a kid and you just want to be like F you know,
Yeah.
to everybody and everything. And I was afraid to do that forever. And I think just having that built up, like once I started smoking and started like dressing different, and then I'm out playing music, so I got the stage fright thing's gone. Like now I'm feeling comfortable to kind of be more outward and open. And that's when I was like, okay, getting into like high school, well, I should say at the end of middle school, like 8th grade era, like, you know, now I want people to be afraid of me, like, not just for how I look, but because of how I act. Sounds so stupid when I say it out loud. But, you know, I start smoking, I start dabbling, and then I start drinking a little bit. And that opens up a whole different world, because, you know, as you know, like, smoking and drinking are, like, way different.
Nope, two different things.
And so I'm thinking, well, I'm smoking and I got over that, and now I like that. Like, okay, if I drink, it's going to be the same kind of thing. I do remember the first time I got really drunk. I don't remember that for the weed, but I do remember it for the alcohol. One of my friends who didn't play music, he was like a childhood friend from like elementary school and stuff. We would always have like these little get-togethers in his basement, but his older brother and his friends would have parties in the basement. But we'd be upstairs when they were doing that. And when we got into like 8th grade, they kind of just like left the door open one time, you know, and like kind of allowed us to enter the party per se.
Okay.
And I was super, super sunburnt, so I took like a whole bunch of like ibuprofen, not thinking anything of it, and I, you know, started drinking, and I don't know what I drank or how much I drank, but I remember feeling very specifically once I got the really warm feeling, and like especially with the ibuprofen, I couldn't feel my face at all. And so I was like, I like this.
Yeah.
This I really like a lot. And I was like my friend Cody, I was like, dude, you need to hit me. Like, I need to know, like, if I can feel it if you hit me. And like, so he's like decks me in the face, and I'm like laughing, and you know, all the normal drunk stuff.
Yep.
But that's the moment, I think. It wasn't the smoking, it wasn't any of that. It was
The booze.
yeah, oh yeah. And which is crazy, because I don't have a DUI, I don't have anything like that, but that feeling, the warm blanket, that's what it was that got me. So after that, my mom kind of drank a lot, but she was like fully functioning. So I say drank a lot, but she like, you know, had her liquor cabinet and stuff like that, like relatively normal. But
Was she like an after work drinker?
yeah.
Okay.
She'd go to the bar for a second after work, and then she'd come home.
Okay.
And so I started coming home from school, and we're still in like 8th grade. I'd come home and like make my own little mixed drinks.
From mom's cabinet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like at some point she definitely had to know, because it was all the time and she wasn't drinking at all. And
You're doing this like daily?
oh yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, for sure.
8th grade.
And but I didn't like drink and go to school. I didn't like nothing like that. It was just when I got home.
Yeah.
And I say just when I got home, like I'm 40 years old and was
Right.
like having a beer
Yeah,
after
just having a
work.
cold
you
one
know?
after work.
Right.
Yeah. No, but I would always get like a glass and like ice and like it was like a mixed drink. Like I was an old man and I'd always have like one, you know, and just sip on it. And but like I said, my dad worked at UPS, so he was gone early in the morning. He left by like 5:30 in the morning. He'd get home at like 9 at night.
God,
Yeah.
it's a long day.
Yeah, he was a driver. He did that for like 40 something years. He just retired last year.
Jeez.
My mom worked like did logistics for the steel mill in town, and she'd hit the bar with like her coworkers after work, and then she'd come home at like 8 because she'd want to like get something prepared dinner wise and stuff like that.
So you had a nice little gap.
Oh yes, and I ended up definitely taking advantage of that. So I'd come home, you know, get my mixed drink thing going on, and over time it was like I just got used to being by myself. So I started having other people over and I was like, okay, we have to cut it off at this time. And so, you know, before you know it, we had like I'd have fans up in the windows and like we'd be just chiefing, and I was able to get it all squared away, cleaned up by the time they both got home.
And the smell is gone out of the house.
I thought it
and that-
was. I don't know
Jesus.
though. You know.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know.
Ballsy.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a different time for sure. But that's when I started. When that happened, you know, we're still playing music and stuff. But you know, then I get into high school, and I really, really, really stopped caring about school at that point, and I really only wanted to go to school to see like my friends, and that was it. All I cared about was friends, girls, drama, like that nonsense. And when I got into high school, my very first teacher freshman year, got into a big argument with him, and I like made the decision in my mind to like give up, essentially. I was like, I just want to play music and drink alcohol. It's like it, you know.
Sounds nice.
Yeah, it did at the time, but I also had already like I thought that I was going to be famous
Right.
already,
Right.
so there's no need for all of this. And mind you, I'm still at a little tiny school, so there's like a lot of like country boys and like a lot of those little cliques, and a lot of like the more preppy kids that I ended up becoming friends with, but still like at the time I just hated them, like for no reason at all. Like I just didn't like their lifestyle, I didn't like their confidence, I didn't like anything, so I'm like, fight me, you know. That's the person I became. I was just like, just wanted to be aggressive and egotistical and
You wanted to be seen.
awful. Yeah.
It's kind of what it sounds like.
Yeah, and you know, my friends and I, like back then when everyone's kind of a freshman, the way you kind of like earned respect was, you know, you like threw on boxing gloves and met up with whoever and just like went at it. That was like what all the boys did when we got into high school. And my friend Jordan, my other friend, we would get hammered and just to like, for me it was like just a show of force, like, and again, all these people became my friends later, but I was just like, you know, we'd call them and say, hey, you want to, you know, let's meet up at the park and like we're gonna box, like all my friends are gonna box all your friends, and like, but I'd get there and I just would like, we don't need to use gloves, like, you know, it sounds so stupid when I say it now, but that just who I needed to be, I guess, aggressive, and I wanted people to see that I was aggressive, and ultimately led to me just like one day I just left school and didn't go back, and that
Left altogether.
yeah,
Damn.
Yeah.
What did your mom say?
she couldn't stop it. I don't.
Really?
I think she seemed supportive at the time, but looking back, I think she just didn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because she didn't want to like push me away, but at the same time I was like uncontrollable at this point. I know I skipped a lot of stuff in there, but that aggression was kind of what I was trying to get to. I just wanted to fight people, you know. And
Did you ever take any of that out on stepdad at any point? Any
When I-
blowouts?
yeah, when I got big enough, which I was 200 and something, I was like 205 pounds when I was a freshman in high school.
Damn, buddy.
And I was tall for like that age. And so when I got to that age, yeah, we started getting physical. And because, you know, he'd yell at me and stuff. And then I'd be like, I'm not.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm not doing this anymore.
Is
Like,
that right?
even talking about it makes me sick to my stomach a little bit, you know, like, because it's not me. It
Right.
never was supposed to be me. And so it's just like, I can't imagine myself having that big of an ego. But I also have to, you know, give myself a little grace because I was a kid. And I just wanted to play music with my friends. I wasn't trying to, I didn't know what I was dealing with at the time. And I remember like having nightmares of like my evil self, you know? I don't know if that makes sense, but I'd like have full on nightmares of like future me at the time. Like I would see myself in my dreams of like, his like eyes are all sunken in and like looks like a skeleton of a person. Sounds weird and ridiculous, but
Interesting.
I vividly remember it. And I feel like at some point I had let like this darkness inside of me. That's like the easiest way I can explain it. You know, I'm not trying to get like weird about it, but something definitely changed my outlook on everything. So I left school and there was a lot that led up to that, but there's a lot that happened after that I want to get into. So I'm trying to.
Yeah, what's
through
the
that
plan
part.
now? Like, okay, I'm not going to school anymore.
That's a great question. I'm going to go get a job at a restaurant and I'm going to play
Okay.
music. I'm just going to travel and play music. But at that time, like I leave school and I get a job at Wendy's, and that was awful because now I'm with people who are like 30 and 40
Mm-hmm.
and they're working at Wendy's. And so that's like I started dealing weed. I started all from that freaking Wendy's. It's like that's where that started.
Where'd you get the idea to deal weed? Just a little extra money, or you wanted to smoke for free, or
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. I think I wanted both.
both?
I wanted all of it.
Yeah.
And then I, through that, and I ended up, somehow I connected with somebody and I ended up with like a bunch of X pills. And I had never even done anything like that at that point. And I'm just selling this stuff to all the people that I went to school with at the time. But my parents were gone at work, and I would work like sometimes. And so my house is on the corner of like a little, it's like country roads, and it's right on the corner of a four-way. And my bedroom has a window on one side of the corner and a big window on the other side of the corner. And people would drive up to the four-way stop and like pull off and just walk up to my window.
And then bam.
And then they were gone.
Almost like a drive-through.
Yeah, it really was. And it got to the point of where like police would sit in my neighbor's driveway, and it got really bad at like later on.
Did you ever try the ecstasy?
Yes, I did eventually. And then I got like really into that.
How was that experience for you?
The first time I tried it, it was like just a little bit, and it felt like I was outside of myself, and I didn't take that much. I think I took like half a pill.
Okay.
I don't remember what they were. It's been so long ago, but I had jars of them,
Damn.
like hundreds of these.
Jesus.
You're
at
able
a
to
time.
sell them like that in this little
Yeah.
small town?
Dude, yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely. That and weed. And at Wendy's, that's where I like the weed game changed, because I met somebody who was like importing from another state, and it was a whole different world than what I had ever seen before, and a whole different quality of substance than I've ever seen before. And that wasn't really super widely available in my town at that time. So because of the way I was living before that, even though I was so young, I only wanted to hang out with people. That's all. The only reason I went to school. That's the only reason I I made all my decisions based on just like partying with people or hanging out with people. So I had all these connections from all these different groups of people, and that was like how I could be known and how I could be liked and how I could.
Yep.
It's so cliche.
I remember feeling the exact same way.
You got all these friends and people that need you now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That you're holding what they want.
Yeah, phones ringing all the time.
Yeah.
Oh God, I loved it.
And
I loved it.
You know, I should say, when I started doing that, the friends I was playing music with, it kind of fizzled out. You know, because they started doing the same kind of thing, but a little different. They were like into cocaine and stuff at that point. And then we ended up getting back together, and it was a whole different thing. We went from playing like this super heavy aggressive music to now it's like straight up reggae and like funk music.
Oh,
And
boy.
we're going to like festival, like those types of festivals.
Yeah.
And
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
And we did that for like a year. And then that blew up as well because there's drugs involved, and there's like I'm coming to practice and I've got scales and all this stuff.
Oh,
It's like
God.
I was the kid that was like with those same people, like not even wanting to be in the same vicinity as
And
we.
now you're the.
And now you're that, yeah.
And I'm like showing up and like, you know, it just, but that didn't last very long. It was, we did one album, recorded, released it, and did those
Who do you
shows.
release it to? Just your friends?
The public. Yeah. You would use like DistroKid type websites
Okay.
to
Get it out there.
Yeah. Yeah, they would put it on platforms, but back then it was like
Just before
Reverb Nation.
SoundCloud.
It was right at the beginning of the SoundCloud
Okay.
time, I think. But it was mostly like Reverb Nation and like what were some of the other ones? But it's all like that. It's like SoundCloud.
Yeah.
Same kind of concept. And you'd be like charted and ranked and all these different sites, and then they would like accumulate it from all the sites to figure out who was ranked in what categories and what genres of music. But we were so into like the drug scene at that point that we
Forgot
didn't
about
really
the
care.
music.
Yeah.
Didn't matter.
Yeah, and then there was like stuff with like girls and like girlfriends, and there's just a lot of stuff that kind of just broke everybody apart. But their family was like a lot more well off, so like they were gonna go to college and stuff, regardless of if they did drugs and things. Like I didn't realize at the time like how much of a deficit some kids are at when they're doing the same things as other kids, but those other kids don't. They don't take it with them.
Yeah.
They just move right on
Yeah.
with life like how they were supposed to.
Yep.
They keep going to school, even though they talk about how they hate it. And I'm like, I also hate it, so I'm going to leave. You know, and like the extreme version.
Yeah,
of like,
right.
you
Right.
know, what all the kids say. I wish I would have stayed doing that, leaving public school and like working at Wendy's and stuff. That was a disaster.
It's not the American dream.
No, I was 17 when this happened, so I wasn't driving very much or anything. And then, so I was selling, you know, ecstasy. I was selling weed, and I got my hands on mushrooms, and I was selling mushrooms. I'd only done them a couple times. I had a couple friends who were really into them, but I was so nervous about stuff like that. Like, you know, I started taking ecstasy, like, but again, I was like almost microdosing at the time.
Right.
I don't know if that term was around then, but that's how I approached things because I was still just a scared
Well,
little kid.
psychedelics too
Yeah.
are a different ball game
Yeah.
entirely.
Especially
so.
if your psyche is not like
The
in a
best
great,
already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a
Yeah.
good spot to be in to
Yes.
take hallucinogens.
absolutely.
You don't ever get fucked with by the cops, or they're never like.
They did, but I got really lucky a lot of times, up until like later. But like I said, they would sit like across the street from my house. They would sit at the end of my road. They would patrol the block. So like when you left, we were right on the outskirts of Pittsburgh. So I'm talking like 2 to 3 blocks, and you're in town. To get in town, you have to go from like my like country side. You have to go over this like little tiny hill. I say it's a little tiny hill, but it's like it's tall enough where you can't see over it. So
Right.
you can't see town. You wouldn't know it's coming if you weren't from there. You'd just be driving in the country, and all of a sudden you go over this little hill and there's town. They would sit right there, and I'd have
course they
no
would.
way to get to my house outside of going through there. I'd drive by, they'd flash their lights on at me and turn them back off. Or like, they'd pull us over, but they wouldn't search anything. And just weird, kind of weird.
That is weird.
But also, I was picking up weed across the street from the DEA, who
Oh.
became the DEA agent's house. So his dog was there.
Oh, nice. Perfect.
But I picked it up from like a middle class couple. I wasn't like going to the hood.
Right.
I hadn't experienced that
Right.
yet. I had no idea what that life was about yet. I'm just like, small town. Like, I thought I was big ballin' at the
Right.
time, but
I mean, in that town, you might have been.
I felt like it.
Shit. Jars of ecstasy in a
felt
town
like
like
it.
that.
What do you do
For
with your
sure.
money? Like, I'm assuming if you have,
Dude, partied.
Just-
I bought stuff like get like music gear, and like then I would we'd go to the bar, and like I'd drop a few $100, like nothing good
Right.
came out of it.
and you're living
you
with
know.
mom still, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And
Yep.
she's never like, hey,
Oh, yeah,
you're
she-
different.
At some point, she's like, "Why do we go through so many sandwich baggies?" She asked me that one time.
Oh, you love sandwiches?
She's like, "I notice you never ask me for money, but you work at Wendy's, and we're always out of sandwich baggies."
Yeah.
Why the fuck didn't you buy your own sandwich baggies?
Dude, I don't know.
It's just,
I mean, what the fuck?
he's a kid.
Yeah.
They're like,
Not thinking that
it's
far
like
ahead.
$1. It's
You're
like
right, dude.
$2.
I've never actually thought about that at all. I just waited for more to show up at my
Yeah.
house. You know,
It's like, I don't have to. They
delivery.
just show up.
Yeah,
They're there when
The
I need them.
fuck?
yeah. Now, eventually, I I would go to the head shop like later on, and I'd buy like the little,
The little
Yeah.
like,
the
tiny
little
bags.
packages and
Yeah.
stuff. But before that, I didn't know head shops existed. I just knew people showed up and they had bowls and stuff. I didn't know where they even came
Yeah.
from.
Right.
Like, we didn't have that kind of thing around our town. It was all in the city. So we'd, eventually, there's a place called High on the Hill that we'd go to downtown. We played a couple concerts there when I was like with the reggae type group, and like in their basement. Those were cool. Those were actually really fun. But that's where I'd buy scales, and I'd just buy everything right there.
What's your band's name? Is it like something like hard rock, like Pussy Lightning?
No, that one was called Cruise Control.
Oh, okay.
And like I said, I was 16 because I could drive, but then I left school, so I was 17, and so I got my hands on the mushrooms, and I find somebody who wants to buy a quarter of mushrooms or whatever. I'm like, oftentimes, like, if my parents were home, I would just walk down the street, and they would pick me up. Whoever was buying would pick me up, drive around the block, and drop me back off.
Yep.
I'd just tell them I'd go outside and smoke a cigarette or something. So I'd tell my parents. And he picks me up, like, had this bag of mushrooms, and he was like, "Hey, would you want to trade for this?" I'm like, "Trade what?" Like, I want your money, really,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he pulls out this little tiny blue pill. And yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know where this is going.
Yep.
And I'm like, what the heck is that? Like, I had taken some, like, my mom had like a old bottle of like hydrocodone that I
Sure.
had kind of taken, like stuff like that I had done. Not enough for me to ever feel like
That
feeling.
feeling. Yeah.
And so I'm like, sure, And I think also these guys were a little older, and they were selling other things on a much higher level than I was selling them. But they wanted to trip out. They wanted to take shrooms, so they came to me for that. So I kind of I think it was the same concept. Like, I wanted them to think I'm the cool guy.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
Doing him
like,
a favor type
yeah,
deal.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Is that not a bad deal though? So it's
It was
a
awful
blue
deal.
30,
Yeah, I
right?
was gonna
Yeah,
say
it
that.
was.
A quarter ounce of mushrooms.
And this was before the fentanyl. This
Yeah.
was before all of that. So, yeah, it was a bad deal.
Yeah, it sounds like a terrible business.
Yeah.
But I also didn't want to take the mushrooms either, and I just had a bunch left over. So I'm like, cool, whatever. And he looked at me, and when he put it in that little tiny thing in my palm, he looked at me and he said, "Do not take that whole thing." He knew I was he told me snort it, but don't snort the whole thing.
Okay.
I was like,
It's accurate. That is accurate.
it is. I was like, but I was so confused.
I would say,
I'm
what's
like,
your ego telling you though?
this freaking little
this
tiny thing?
little thing.
Right.
I can't do it all.
Part of me was like that, but I also hadn't experienced that in myself yet, so I wasn't confident. Like, I was still scared of stuff.
Sure.
I just didn't want people to know it. So, yeah, I would smoke weed, but that's because I had enough experience with it at that point that I didn't really care about it. I'm drinking. Everybody else drinks. You know, my mom and brother, everybody drinks, you
Right.
know. So that stuff didn't worry me so much. But when I tried, like, ecstasy, I'd take, like, a little piece.
Mm.
And when I tried cocaine another time, it was like a little tiny little bit, just because there was still something inside of me that said, like, this is, like, not good.
Right.
So, and you don't know how you're going to feel, and you don't like that. You don't like being out of control. You need to be in control. Just the OCD, the obsessive thoughts.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
interesting.
So I'm, like, microdosing everything, but they gave me that. It was Roxy 30.
Yep.
Gave me that guy. I go, it's dark at this point, and I'm still at my parents' house, and I'm in my room, and I think they went to bed, so it was like pitch black in my house, and it like gives me anxiety talking about this particular night, which stuff way worse happened later in life, but for whatever reason, this was like the seed was planted, like another seed, but this was like the next level, the next chapter. I break that thing in half, and I crushed, I think, half of it, and I snorted it, and I was just chilling out, like playing video games or something, and I got this feeling like, I want to say it was like 45 minutes later. I don't remember. It was like a while, enough for me to be like, what the hell? Like,
That was a ripoff.
yeah, exactly. So I go and I break the other half in half.
Ooh, buddy.
And hit that other quarter. And then that's when it hit me really, really, really hard. I got super nauseous.
Yep.
And it was like my skin was on fire, kind of. Not in a bad way, but like to where it was like vibrating. I just never felt that before, ever, with anything else I had done. But I got super nauseous. I took like almost all my clothes off because I'm hot as hell. And I'm just like in the bathroom, like profusely throwing up. And then I wake up and it's like 3 a.m. and I'm still in the bathroom. I had passed out on the floor. And I don't know what happened, but
You just nodded out.
yeah, I think I did. That was my
Yeah.
first nod.
Yeah.
You know, there are many more to come after that. But, and I like woke up, dude, and then threw up some more every time I drink water or anything. And then eventually, like, I'm laying in bed and I'm like sweating, and eventually I like just, I guess, went to sleep. And the next morning when I woke up, I was like I want to do that again. Like, which is crazy.
Yeah.
It was an awful experience.
Was it like I want to do it right, or I want to do it?
No, I was like, I just need to do it now.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Shit.
I want that. Like,
Fuck. Okay.
yeah, it was like immediate. I was like, that was awesome. And looking back, it was gross and it was awful.
Yeah, you explain that to a normal person.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
sounds like the worst time
Yes,
ever.
exactly.
But to us, we're like, I got to do that again.
Yeah, it was. I didn't even know what it was called at that time. I didn't know what he gave me. Still, so I'm like, what is this little blue pill that I have to go seek out and find now? Not realizing that there's so many other things. I didn't know it was an opiate. I didn't know any of this stuff.
Yeah.
So then I go back to like regularly scheduled programming. I'm like going to work at Wendy's. I'm getting selling stuff. I did get into kickboxing at this time, which is like a weird little, I guess it's not, I guess it actually plays into this. I get into kickboxing. I don't remember why. I think it's because I was, again, I would be at Wendy's, right? And if I would smoke weed before I went, and I'd smoke weed after I left. But if I didn't smoke weed, or if it had been too long into my shift, I'd start getting pissed off at people, like the customers, the coworkers. Yeah. I'm like punching stuff and slamming stuff, and I'm a whole grown child, pretty much, just infuriated by every little thing. And not to mention, I have like piercings and stuff still. So I'm in this little town, and I had like people would come in and be like, "I'm not letting you take my order."
Mm.
Like straight up, like
That sucks.
when I was a young boy, when I went to work, I had to look respectful. You have fish hooks in your mouth, you know,
that
like
sucks.
it was like that. So I'm just mad. I'm like, meet me in the parking lot. Like I'm ready to freak. You know, I was just stupid. But I get into kickboxing, and so I'm like still selling, still doing my thing, but I'm also going to kickboxing like 2 or 3 times a week. And that's where I met another guy who was like, he was really into like amateur MMA. That was his whole thing. And but every time I'd go to the gym with him, we'd roll and do jiu-jitsu and the whole thing. But then he had me start coming to his house to do like additional stuff. And I'd meet other people that went to his house. Every time I went to his house, he's like, "Here, take this before we start." And it was this little white thing. And I didn't know what it was at first. It turns out they were methadone pills.
Oh.
And they were like, this was so long ago. They were like, it almost looked like a little Xanax bar.
Yeah, I know. They're the 10s, methadone 10s.
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems like an odd choice to take before you start
was.
fighting, right?
It was, yeah. But I didn't know what it
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
Like, I was still 17. I had to have still been 17. And once again, I'm like, oh, there's that. I kind of remember this.
That's that feeling.
Mhm.
Like, what is that? You know, and I'm so naive as a drug dealer. I'm so naive that I think that he's like, this is methadone. I'm like, meth. Like, what the hell? Like, I really didn't have any clue as to what I was doing or what was going on. But that kind of gets me. I'm like, where do you get this? I meet a guy. He introduces me to a guy who actually went to my high school, but he was older than me, who said, "Oh, I can get you what you're looking for." And I'm like, I gave him some money. I was like, go get whatever it is and bring it back to me. And he brings me back this piece of paper, and I unfold it, and it's brown powder. And
Whoa.
yeah, it's because I didn't specifically ask for methadone or whatever. I just said, I want whatever this is. And he said, I know he said something like opiates or something. He had mentioned it in some capacity, but I don't remember what he said. And I'm like, sure, that. And he goes, and I get it, and it's like that. It's just a little piece of paper with brown powder in it.
Fucking heroin.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
It was heroin. I had to have, because I know I was 17 when this happened. So the year I was 17 was intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because from the time I could drive to the time we're at right now, like, I had already gone through that whole gamut. I didn't have my license for very long at that point. But it's daytime. I'm at my house. Nobody's there because all my friends are still in school.
Oh, fuck.
You know, so I just ripped this powder. I just did it.
You did the whole bag?
I did. And,
Brother.
yeah, I got so hot. Again, taking my shirt off. I'm like outside doing laps around my barn because I'm like sweating.
You ever think you're dying in the moments?
Yeah, I do. Yes. I think that's exactly what was happening. And then once again, I go throw up. I pass out. I wake up. It's like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm like,
gotta do that again.
yeah, exactly.
Jeez,
That was my first thought.
Man.
That was my first thought. And, but, you know, in that, I contacted that guy again, and I'm like, you know, I want that. Like, can you get me more of that? At this point, I still had money and stuff, too. So that wasn't a problem.
Right.
I was just like, I want to not feel things. And so I asked him if he could get me more. And he was like, well, I can't get that, but I'll get something. I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't know why I was so trusting.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
good
okay,
for you,
sure,
buddy.
yeah.
Whatever.
Let's do it, you know. But he brings me back. It was It was a little pill. They ended up being OC80s. They were the Oxy 80s.
Damn.
So
Some
the
little
king.
Pill, some little
Yep.
pill. Yeah.
Yep, they were big pills, but
How much
Yeah,
are you giving
yeah.
him? Like, what are you saying?
I think
like,
if I remember correctly, I think at that time it was like 50 cents a milligram.
yeah. So
Is what I
40
was
bucks.
$40.
I think.
God, buddy.
It's
Yeah.
not bad.
Yeah, but I'm like, that OC80, I would crush it up and then like leave it somewhere in my room, just like under something,
Yeah.
and I would just hit on it. Like, I didn't just like rip the whole thing. Like, I
No,
would. It
thank
would
God,
last.
Thank God you didn't.
No, I know, and that, like, they would last me a long time.
Yeah.
And I would just hit little pieces of it. I didn't realize this whole time that I'm getting so addicted. You look back and you don't realize how you don't know it, but it's like,
Well, you're a kid.
yeah,
It's the
Yeah,
same.
it's not
it
like I
was-
knew any like heroin or pill addicts at the time
Yeah.
either. You know, they don't
Mm-mm.
open with that like, hey, it's gonna make you real sick when you don't have it.
no, you go to Dare and stuff. Did you guys have
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Dare stuff
yeah.
and whatnot?
Yeah, they
Oh, yeah.
didn't mention that part.
Yeah,
being
no.
dope
They,
sick or
they show you like a picture of like
yeah, it's like
a drawing of some kid that's supposed to be withdrawing, and they're like in a sweater, and you know what I mean. They look like a thug of some kind.
I don't even remember that.
I don't either. I don't know
Like,
that either.
Yeah,
It was just like
Just
don't
remember the
drink, don't
lion
drive.
and don't sit and say no, and that was it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. But they don't tell you. Nobody tells you.
no, you're a
What?
kid. You have no idea that you can become
Yep.
physically dependent on these substances.
Yeah, and I can't really blame some of the adults either, because to be honest, like, the pharmaceutical wave of opiates was relatively new still.
Yeah.
Like, obviously there was heroin addiction, there was like Basketball Diaries, there's like movies about this stuff, but in terms of like easily accessible pharmaceuticals that are that strong
Mhm.
in a town like mine, they didn't have, there was no data. There's no
Right.
around the time that I was started, like around the time that I was like before I tried that Oxy or the Roxy, there was a kid who went to my school, Chet. He was 4 or 5 years older than me. I didn't know him at all, but he had passed away from an overdose, and he was
Oh.
the only one yet at that point, to the point where my mom came in my room and was like, "Did you know Chet passed away?" And I was like, "Yeah, I heard," but it's a small town, so I didn't know him, but people talk.
Sure.
I was like, "Yeah, I know," and she's friends with my mom is friends with like other parents who their kids also know Chet and like that kind of stuff. So that was my first like, holy cow, like, people die from drugs.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, it happens, but you don't know it happens until it's like right
Hits
there.
close to home.
Yeah, and even that was still, like I said, I didn't know him, but it was he had died of a heroin overdose, and that was like, the town got real weird after that, because it's like, whoa, heroin, like,
Heroin's here.
It's
Yeah.
here,
yeah, and it didn't even register while I was doing all this that I was doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, I didn't
Essentially.
even know it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm taking pills and doing my thing and gonna be a rock star still, somehow.
This has become an everyday thing then.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
every day, because that's all I did. Went to work, sold drugs.
Were the 80s, did they become the king? Like, you just wanted them?
Yeah, and then I would meet up with that other dude after work like every day. And I had money from work, but then I had money from selling weed and stuff too. So he's meeting up with me too, because at this point I didn't realize he's a full-blown heroin addict.
Oh boy.
I didn't know that,
Ah,
because I didn't know what that was. So I had my car. I had stuff
Yeah,
still.
yeah.
I had a decently nice car, and I had these giant subwoofers in the back with like LED lights that like would flash with those songs, and like a ridiculous. But so he's like, "Oh, hey, do you need any of this?" Because he's wanting me to,
of course.
like,
Yeah.
I'm his cash
Yeah,
cow.
yeah.
yeah.
So we're going up and meeting this guy, and this is when I start getting into the city a little bit. Meeting this guy, getting the OC80s. There was a couple times where I ended up getting like 40s, or
Yeah.
it was like but I was always going for OC80s. And then, you know, eventually he was like, I'm out. I can't get any more.
Oh, I hate that.
But I can get this other stuff, which was, he's like, it's much cheaper. You know, we can. I think that was probably his plan the whole time, and he probably could still get OCs.
Yeah, yeah.
But he wanted to get me into the heroin.
It's a lot easier to rip you off on heroin. Than
Yeah,
Yes.
he can
pill,
upcharge
Absolutely.
the shit out of him.
And
Instead
just
of him
snag
giving-
a little bit out of the bag.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Instead of him giving me my pills and I can see how many I bought,
Yeah.
or maybe he's overcharging me a little bit. I never cared about that. Maybe he'd get one out of my 10 or whatever. I never bought 10 at that time actually, because I was going to get them like every other day. So I was probably buying like 1 or 2 at a time at that point. But then he's like, well, I can get the other stuff. It's H. And I was like, you know, he told me. And I was like, damn. I guess I don't have a choice. I have to buy it.
Yeah.
You know. And I still didn't even know what withdrawal was, which is crazy to think about. Like, I think before you've experienced withdrawal, it's not like in existence in your mind. So even though you're doing drugs, you're like, oh, I'm sick.
Yeah, it's
Or,
like, I don't
oh,
have to think about it until I have to think about it.
Yeah,
You know?
it's like,
Yeah.
I don't feel good today.
Some doesn't feel right.
yeah, but you're not thinking like
no.
you're
It's
not
because of
considering
this,
it.
yeah.
Or if you do, it's like it's a hangover, you know, or something like that.
I remember when I went down to Athens and went to school, I had one night where I didn't have pills and I couldn't sleep.
Yeah,
And I was like, what the fuck?
You're like, what's
It's
going on?
Why can't I fucking sleep?
yeah.
And come to
It's
find
weird.
out,
Yeah.
that's why I couldn't sleep.
It's a weird feeling.
Yeah.
And it's weird when you just start going, and you can't tell anybody, you know, you can't talk about it with anybody. Like, I feel like shit because I've been doing all these OCs, and I, you know, like,
Right.
it's just a weird.
Yeah.
You're like, now you've alienated yourself so much more than you were just doing drugs.
Yep.
Mhm.
And I know some people, you know, it's like amphetamines and things, but for me, like, opiates was
The be all
the
end
killer.
all,
Yeah, it's all I wanted. But I ended up getting powder, and we'd pull up. I'll probably never forget this. Like, pulled up to meet the guy. It was a different guy than what we were getting the oxys from. This guy pulls up, and he's in a Cadillac. It's all white Cadillac with all tinted windows. You couldn't see through the windows at all. And we'd meet him every time we'd get H, and like, you know, he'd bring me back my powder. I'd go home and I'd do the same thing I did with the oxys. I would just leave a little pile and I would just hit it here and there, just little bits. I didn't want to get sick. I didn't want to like be throwing up everywhere. So I'm just doing a little bit at a time. And I don't know how this happened, but the guy that I was going up and getting, you know, you kind of trauma bond with those types of people. Like, so we're sharing, you know, he's sharing like his addiction story. He's like, dude, you'll be fine as long as you don't like use a needle, you know, because he'd already been through that. And obviously he's using a needle this whole time.
Right.
But I didn't know that.
Right.
He's like, I just don't use the needle anymore. That's what, you know, that's when you're too far gone.
Yeah, there's
you know?
no hope.
Yeah, and granted, like, I wish the best for him for sure, but I had no business being in any of those scenarios, and so long story short, my stepdad became diabetic, and
Oh, needles.
we found out that he passed out at work and ended up going to the hospital. After he got diagnosed with diabetes, he changed like dramatically over the next 5 or so years. Like, before that, I think he felt terrible all the time, and he was angry all the time. After he was able to get the insulin under control, he's a whole different
person.
Whole different person. But this is the crazy part. He didn't get packs of needles. He got the preloaded
Yeah.
insulin pins.
Yeah.
But me and my like brain, the first time I shot up, nobody did it for me. I'd never seen anybody do it. I just heard him talk about it. I one night, I don't even know what was going on in my brain, but I grabbed one of his used like injector things, and you could like pull the needle end off and like replace it, but the medicine part, the cartridge, was like the tube and stuff.
Can you still draw back on it?
I took it apart,
Oh God.
and I took like a metal envelope opener and like heated it up and bent the end, and I jammed it into the it was like a rubber seal on the back. They did it like that so that it would just inject and you
And
couldn't
that's
pull
it.
out.
Yeah.
But I was able to insert that thing and get it fastened to where I could pull it out.
Wow.
And so I had this freaking rig that was like this long.
Brother.
And that was the first time I ever shot up, was in my room by myself.
Did you hit?
No.
No.
Hell no. No, not at all.
Jesus.
But I poked like this, I got that
You have the
feeling.
muscle pop
I-
effect.
And when you poke through the skin, and
Yeah.
that's like the scariest, when you've never done this before, like we're used to that kind of thing. So like, even now when I get blood drawn, it's like,
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
still, whatever. But back then it's like, once you get that part, okay, I put the needle in myself.
Right.
The rest is
That's-
just
yeah.
bound to
Yeah.
happen.
Golly.
The next time I was with him, I told him, like, I tried this, blah, 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 I didn't really feel much. And he was like, oh, that's because, he's like, did you see blood? And did you,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And I
Yeah.
was
You
like,
got the
no.
education of
Yeah. And which is crazy because he was the one that was like, just don't use the needle.
Yeah,
And
don't do that.
But now he's like, well, since you're already doing it, I want you to be safe,
God bless him for that, right?
You're right, yeah.
What a hero.
Yeah, he saved the freaking day. But, and then so the next time I was able to kind of watch and see what I was doing. And the first time I saw that little blood burst,
Shoot in,
Yeah.
yeah.
that's when I
Yep.
hit
So
it.
you know.
But I only used like a little bit. Again, I was terrified.
Mm.
still.
So you were still using your
The
dad's?
fucking meat
Yep.
injector.
Holy shit!
Yep.
I have
Yep.
never heard that in my life.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
wild, bro.
One of my friends told me he wasn't a friend. He was older, and he's like somebody who I ended up using with shortly after this, because like the middleman that I was talking about that was kind of riding with me
Mhm.
ended up, I don't know, disappearing
Jail.
Dead.
probably. Which he comes
Or
back
that.
in later, which is a real crazy story if I get that far. But so there was a kid that I went to school with. He was older than me. We were in Boy Scouts together. He was kind of well known for like kind of just being a burnout and stuff, and like everybody kind of knew like he did harder drugs, and like through a super wild series of events, I ended up like meeting up with him, and when he saw that rig that I had been using, he was like, and he's an avid user,
Yeah.
experienced, and he was angry with me because he like did know people who had passed away and stuff, and he was like, he said my name and he was like, you are so ignorant.
Mm.
He said, this is not a game. He said, I don't want to be doing this. And the fact that you're like doing that, like using that, and he was like, he's like, there's so many things that can go wrong with this. And he basically just laid into me as another addict.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how I learned that at the time you could just walk up into CVS and buy a pack of rigs.
Yeah.
I didn't know that then, but now I do because he told me. So, but that's when I started buying balloons of tar,
Yeah.
because that's what he.
What do they call them? The berries.
That's what he
Berries,
got, and so that's what led me to the Latinos and the whole operation
Oh yeah.
in Indianapolis.
The
It's
Hispanics.
big operation in
And
Indianapolis.
it's
for
good
sure.
shit.
Yeah,
I
the
bet
Mexicans
if
don't
you're getting
play.
it from them.
It was a different world.
Yeah.
That's when I learned that things are not as they seem, like in the world, really. I saw in Indianapolis, there's like little kids that have like fully like an arsenal of weapons.
Yeah, we are.
Like, you know what I mean? They're guarding
It's
the
at
house.
the other side of the world.
They're on bikes, like riding down,
Yeah.
like they'll kill you.
It's the
too.
movie shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
the shit you see in the movie.
It is. And when you say it out loud, it sounds like it just sounds made up, but it's not. Like, these kids, that's all they know. And they're like, they will kill you. And they also get beat if they make a mistake. Like, if they give you one too many, or they something happens.
Right.
Maybe they get picked up by the police, or they get robbed. Like, they're getting whooped. And I saw it happen a few times. And I'm kind of bouncing through because there's so much there's other stuff I want to get to that I'll never get to if I go through every single time I used and every group I used with and stuff. But Indianapolis has changed a lot since then. I'm sure it still is happening, but it's like even those areas that were kind of burnt down are coming back to life, it seems. So like the places where I would see those kids and see all that, sometimes I'll drive by that stuff, and it's becoming a little bit of a different world.
Gentrified.
Yeah, I think so. There's like the same place where I'd see these kids like on a bicycle with like an AR hanging off of them, like in an alley. Now I see like a mom walking a stroller with
Walking
a
her
dog.
stroller
It's
down.
trippy. Like, it's real crazy. But that is kind of the path I went down for the next however many years.
So you're full on.
Yeah, full on
Full
now.
blown now IV heroin user.
Yep. And then I'm getting packs of rigs, and remember the Cadillac that I told you about?
Mhm.
That guy. I ended up realizing that the middleman guy that disappeared like 3 months prior had used my phone to call him.
Oh, yeah, see. Yeah.
So
Classic.
I'm like,
Boom,
Classic
baby.
fuck up move, yeah.
Boom.
yeah. So now I didn't have to deal with this like dickhead that was like always like.
How bad was he gouging you when you finally met dude?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it was half probably of what.
God.
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
half. But
Fuck.
I liked getting the balloons, but it was way more dangerous. And the guy I was getting him from was just a dick. Like, or the guy that was like middlemaning it for me. He's like he was like telling me how terrible of a person I am the whole time, when he's also a terrible person or worse. But you know what I mean? He's just like mean
That's
as hell,
so
and
weird.
aggressive, and
So bizarre.
Yeah, I think he had issues, like other issues.
Yeah.
Like,
Because there's nothing behind that. Like, there's
No.
nothing for him to gain by
No.
doing that to you. He's not manipulating you.
no, it's not. Normally it'd be the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. You want to groom him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was totally different. So once I met the dude in the Cadillac, I called him, or I texted him, and I was like, hey, all those times that you saw that car and you were meeting so and so, that was me. That was my money. That was my car. I just want to meet with you directly. First thing he asked me is, how old are you? I'm like, 17. And he was like, all right.
Yeah, fuck it, all right,
Yeah.
I'm already
Cool.
Yeah.
committing a felony,
Yeah.
so why not?
And he ended up actually becoming we became really close throughout the next several years.
I bet.
He would, well, yeah, for sure. It turns out like he was another addict, and so countless days, middle of the day, middle of the night, I would be in his car. It's all tinted out, super nice. We'd sit in like a parking lot and just die for a few hours. Just
Shoot up and not out.
just gone.
That's weird,
Wake
because I
back
never
up.
trusted addicts as my dealers, ever.
Yeah.
I hated it.
I never did it, yeah.
I didn't know anything else.
Yeah.
I just thought,
Sometimes you get lucky.
yeah.
Sometimes you do.
I never had any. He never like did anything super crazy, or like there was
Yeah.
no like robbing or anything that happened, or I don't know. With him, it was never like that. I met his parents. Like it,
Oh,
like
boy.
I ended up
Wow.
actually like meeting his family, and he ended up total. I met his kid when he
How
had
does
his
he
kid.
explain you to the family? This is my friend.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Wow.
And your parents don't see like signs of being an IB drug user,
dude.
yet.
I don't know. One time, my mom asked me because one of my friends told her. One of my actual friends, like that didn't do crazy stuff,
Right.
said, I think he needs help.
Mm.
And she asked me, and I was like, no, yeah, I like tried stuff and whatnot. Like I went to Florida Keys and like somehow got a bunch of salvia and a bong and stuff and took it back home. And the first thing I did was showed her what I got. Like she was always really cool as long as I was honest with her.
Mm.
If I was staying the night over,
Salvia.
yeah, dude, I could tell you stories about that for sure. But if I was like staying the night somewhere, and I didn't want to drive because I was drinking, I would call her and be like, I'm staying here because we've been drinking.
Yeah.
And I was 16, 17, Was I telling the truth? No, probably not, because I did go other places. But
Right.
what I'm saying is I could tell her.
Yeah.
But so that was the one time I just straight lied. I was like, no, I would never do that stuff.
Yeah, I'd tell you, Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I kind of ruined that, And that was it. I mean, they worked a lot. Dude, when I left high school, my dad didn't even know that I wasn't in school. My stepdad.
He never knew you were
Until my
going to
class
school.
graduated. He thought I was going to school that whole time. He had no clue.
And never came up in conversation, like, how was school today?
Nope, because I worked during the day, and I would, if I knew that I wasn't working, I would make sure I left and then came back.
And then came back after he was gone.
Yep.
Wow.
Smart.
I forget when you were telling me the story about, like, the guy in the car. Like, you're only 17.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
because all of
wild.
this happened so fast, and that's what's hard for me to remember. Like, I have 9 years clean now. Well, February of 2015 is when I actually completely got clean. And so it was, my graduating class was 2010.
Okay.
So it was like from 17 until, 2015.
2015.
So I don't even know.
So 09 to
Was just
15.
off to the races.
Yeah, that's really fast.
Yes.
You really escalated quickly.
Yeah, and so at this point, I know that I withdraw if I
Yeah.
don't have stuff. The dealing and stuff, that kind of fizzled out because I had
Yep.
spent all the money.
Oh,
Now I
yeah.
owed money, and now, like, there was a time where I had a car. Like, my mom started finding out that I owed people this money
Yeah.
because people were coming by my house and stuff, but I didn't know. She didn't know that I was spending money on these other things. She just knew that I was dealing drugs and I owed people money. And I kind of utilized that, in a disgusting manner. You know what I mean? I'm just like, this is why I'm broke and I need money, and I'm going to do whatever I need to do to get the money.
Yeah, because I got to pay these people.
Yes. And which was true for a very short
Ish,
time.
Yeah.
And once that was handled, it was just
Dope.
dope. Yeah. And so I'm with the guy in the Cadillac. Eventually he totals his car. And so now, and I had actually one night with the car that I had at the time, I was driving one night and I was supposed to be going to a party, and I flipped the car over, and some guy in a truck. Remember that hill I was talking about that went
Yeah.
right into town?
Yep.
Right before that hill, I flipped my car over.
Mm.
There was nothing out there. It was the middle of the night. I was supposed to be the one bringing, party favors to this. Remember the place, the basement I was telling you about where my friends had parties?
Okay.
These were other friends. These were childhood friends. These were not drug addicts
Okay.
folks. This was a middle-class neighborhood that they lived in. So when I had been using all night and in the city and, with whoever, all these different people, bouncing around, grabbing all this different stuff. And I'm driving. I dropped my friend off, and when I got to I nodded out right before I got to that hill, and there's a ditch on the side of it, and I just rolled right into it.
Damn.
Shit.
Cops never came, nothing. There was another guy that was an old country boy and his girlfriend, big truck, came over the hill and was like, "You need help?" And they went and got a winch and pulled my car out.
Damn.
And all of this is happening right outside of town. Like, you could see the streetlights on the other side of that hill. I get in my car. It drives. I made it to the party eventually at 1 a.m. probably. It's starting to rain. It's not raining hard, but it's like a mist. I know that they're inside partying still. I open my door to get out and go inside, and I take one step out, and I fall out. And I am just in the street.
OD?
I woke up at about 10 o'clock the next morning. The
Damn.
party was over. Everybody's gone.
And you're
His
just-
parents had been home and left, and I was still on the side of the street.
And nobody saw you, or just didn't
Oh, they saw me.
care.
Just nothing.
What the fuck?
That's
No
wild.
idea. No idea. I have no idea. My head was pounding because of the position I was in and because I had lost blood flow.
Yeah.
I think that was the first time I seriously OD'd. There was several ODs after that where I went to the hospital and things, but that one was, it was shocking because I was in the middle of this cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What the fuck?
Like beautiful houses, and I'm hanging out when I had been rained on all night, and my car door's open. Like, I woke up, I shut my car door, I look, and I just went home. And so I told you about the guy in the Cadillac totaling his car because now when he goes and picks up his supply, he's calling me to take him. So this is my next in, to the inner city. Like, I'm getting closer and
Next
closer.
level.
Yeah. And so we picked up one time, and it was nighttime. We had both been using, and we had baggies. He had already broken a bunch of stuff up, and this is like heroin days. Like, we're not pills, weed, all that's gone. I didn't smoke weed anymore because I got too paranoid. When I would smoke, I just wanted to do dope. And so we're driving back through a town called Avon. I'm driving, taking him home, and then I'm going to my house. And I get pulled over. And there's probably maybe a little less than an ounce of heroin in the car at the time. And spoons and all the things.
Oh, boy.
And we get pulled over. I'm driving. I had just turned 18.
Oh, fuck.
Because I knew I remember that conversation. I was 18. I had not been in trouble yet. And the cop comes to the side of the car, and he's like, it's dark, so he's shining light. He's like, do you know why I stopped you? And I was like, no idea. And I had to have looked blitzed.
Well, and your
Like-
fucking car just
Oh, dude,
beats
yeah.
the shit too.
Yes, mufflers it's like loud as hell, yeah. And like, I had put everything under my seat. He did the same, but he had a bunch of baggies in his mouth that were already tied up. And cop, blah blah blah. You know why I stopped you? And I'm like, no idea, officer. How are you doing today? And he was like, well, you're swerving everywhere. And I was like, oh, I didn't notice. Have you had anything to drink? And I'm like, no. Which I could say that honestly.
Yeah.
have you had anything to drink? No, absolutely not. And then I see another cop car pull up behind his.
Oh, boy.
And
Yeah, when the
That's
second
You
never
kind of
good.
know it's over
when
with.
the second one shows up.
yep. And so this is actually wild. So the cop takes my license and stuff, goes back to the car. The other police officer comes to my passenger side and says, I need your license, to him, and takes his license. We're sitting there. He looks over at me and he's like, I need you to take these charges. And I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. Like, my stuff's here, your stuff. I mean, I'm not going to take all of it.
But
To
you're-
each their own. Yeah, you get yours, I'll
you're
get mine.
driving, though. It's your car.
I know. I know. And he said, he's like, I'm on diversion or whatever. He was already in trouble. And he was like, I'm screwed. And he was like, you'll at least get a chance. And I was like, dude, I can't do it. Just stop talking to me
Good
about
for
this.
you. I wouldn't have done it either.
And the cop comes back. It literally, like, I'm shaking almost, like, inside. Not like I'm not like shaking, but like I'm actually like right now saying this, like feeling the anxiety from the situation. He had comes back to the car. He's like, step out of the vehicle. And I'm like, okay, I'll take my seatbelt off. And I'm getting out. Another cop comes over, grabs the cop that's asking me to get out of the car, and says, come here. He says something to him. It's like whispering in his ear. And I'm standing outside the car. The cop puts his hand on my shoulder, and he said, you know what? Just be safe. Have a good rest of your night. And they got in their cars and left. It was
What?
so crazy. What I think actually happened is I think that when they took his ID, I don't have any evidence of this at all. I just think that this is what happened. I think that when they took his ID, he was either already informing or he was already under investigation.
Okay.
So they want to
They didn't
fuck
want
up
to
their
blow it.
investigation. Yeah.
I think I don't know that
that makes sense.
That's the only thing that makes sense at all.
Or to get another call.
Yeah.
But like
because they didn't take him out of the car. There was no conversation with either of us in the police. So there was no like talking. It was just they came back, get out of the car. So there was nothing that was said. So we both, I took him home and
Wow.
we were silent the whole
Did
time.
did it get weird after that with you guys? Because like you're not willing to take his charge. So he's,
That
like,
was-
butthurt about it.
No, he apologized, actually, for asking me to do that. He was like, I'm panicking, this and that. But I'm also like, this is really dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my first charge would have been
Oh, you're fucked.
absolutely, I would have been decimated.
You're going to
there's-
prison.
Yeah, there's no way around it.
No.
And I'm in Hendricks County, which is not the city.
Yeah,
This
you're-
is the suburbs.
You are so fucked.
And, but drop him off, go home. That's the end of that. Shortly after, one of my friends and I go up to the city. It's Mother's Day, actually. I'm 18. Neither of us could find anything. And we went down to where we knew, like, people were that had dope. And we...
Cold copping on the
Yeah.
corners.
Yep. And we picked up this dude, and he had a duffel bag with him, and he was like, go down over here, go down over here. And we get pulled over with the guy in the car.
Oh man.
And that was the first time I actually got taken to jail. It was Mother's Day.
What
when
they
I was
get you
18.
for?
Needles.
That's it?
Yep. 'Cause
Okay.
we hadn't made it to the spot yet. And the guy that we picked up, the only thing he had in his duffel bag were a couple of burnt DVDs and a machete. That was it.
That checks out.
And so he was like, you white boys are the cops. And I was like, and when we were in processing, I'm sitting next to him, and I'm like, I told you we weren't the cops. Like, we're also here now, too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. We're also under arrest.
Yeah.
Why did he get popped if he only had needles?
I think he had a warrant
Warrant.
or something, like, outside of... I don't think he was even actually, to be honest, I don't think he was one of the guys we were actually looking for. I think he was just a guy who pretended to be one of the guys on the corner
Yeah.
and was going to try to rob us.
Get some
okay.
money.
Yeah.
Sweet karma worked out in your favor then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
So what happened? You get a slap on the wrist? Because like it's got to be a misdemeanor, right?
Yeah, it was a Class A misdemeanor, possession of
Paraphernalia.
paraphernalia, and they towed my car and took a bunch of cash that we had. And I was in Marion County for a few days, and my mom bailed me out. My buddy was also in there. He was in there for a little bit longer, and then he got bailed out.
What was that like? Jail for the first time?
So awful. And I have friends who aren't in that life that were like, I couldn't do it, man. I couldn't do it. And then I'm like, well, you don't have a choice. Like, you can
Yeah.
either be in there and losing your mind to be one of those guys, or you just
Accept it
Do
for
it.
what
yeah,
it
because
is.
it doesn't matter how much you freak out. Doesn't matter if you cry,
You're
scream.
still there.
You're still there. You're gonna be there.
Yeah.
And this was in my limited knowledge of like my week there. But this was also Marion County. So there's a CCA in Marion County. Do you guys have a CCA here?
I don't think so.
What's a CCA?
It's like there's a bunch of them all over the country. They're privately owned. There's Marion County Jail, and then there's CCA.
Oh.
Oh, so it's just a private jail.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it's open dorm, so all the lights are on, all the bunks are in the middle, and
Okay.
it's like a prison camp, sort of, but obviously without the provisions of prison. But it's bad. So Indianapolis has tunnels all underneath. There's like old abandoned tunnels everywhere. So you get processed at Marion County Jail, and then they chain gang you, hook you all up together, and drag you through the tunnels
Yep,
to CCA.
To the courthouse. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
to CCA, and CCA was a trip.
I'm assuming you're going through it, right? Dope sick?
Yes,
Yeah.
yep, that was my first experience with that.
Mm.
Get arrested, get out. I'm on probation now. My girlfriend at the time, which that's something I've kind of left out of this, but I had several different girlfriends throughout this whole thing, and the people I always dated were never on my level of that stuff. I think it's because I wanted normalcy still, and so I was dating these girls who would like never do that
Right.
kind of thing. And so the girlfriend I had at the time, she had broken up with me because of all the times I was just nodding out in the Cadillac and like not answering her calls. And one time her car broke down, and I was knotted
weren't
out
there.
somewhere, just that kind of thing. One time I made her drive my stick shift because I was nodding out too bad. She didn't know how to drive a stick shift. And so she's all over the place, and I can't even talk. So she broke up with me, and a friend of mine and I went to Florida with his parents.
With the drug dealer or with your drug friend's parents? No.
Nope. Childhood friend.
Okay.
It was something we did every year, and that was the last year that we had done it. Like I said, this is all when I was 17, 18. Like, this whole thing. So when I got arrested, it was early 18. And so now I'm 18, and one thing we used to do was we would get all these different types of weed, and we'd take it to Florida with us, and his parents were cool, so we'd drive down there, and so I did it again, and I hadn't been smoking or anything because it made me too paranoid. But I went and found all these different types of weed, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I missed the fact that after I got arrested, I went to a Suboxone clinic, like a little tiny one.
Okay.
You know, when they first started like becoming suburban.
Yeah.
Yep.
Little doctor office you had to go in and be withdrawing, and they prescribed me to 3 of the 8s a day.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's
They-
a lot of
dude, yeah.
that's a lot
And they
of
made you sit
Suboxone,
there
man.
and take them all within like 30 minutes, like a 30-minute, you'd take 8, and then 30 minutes later you'd take another 8.
Ugh.
They
You
made
get
me take
ripped.
24 milligrams. I hated that feeling.
Yeah.
I didn't feel good.
I
It wasn't.
hated it too.
It feels like
Gross.
false.
It's just gross.
Yeah, you're like disassociated with everything,
It's
and
fucking gross.
I don't know how people use it to get high. I mean, I do, but I don't like that feeling at all. But it helped me not withdraw.
And that's
So-
henceforth why you can go drive to Florida.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I brought a rig and a little bit of dope with me, and I was using it on the way to Florida,
Okay.
which was so stupid.
Yeah,
I'm
it was-
with him and his family.
Yeah.
Well, but also, aren't you wasting the fucking dope because you're on Suboxone?
You can still do both, I think, on Suboxone, can't you?
I knew, and I waited to take that last bit of Suboxone. I think the last one I took. So when I was using it on the way up there, it was probably blocking it a little bit, but that next day, I was right back into
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
dope using, and but so I took a Suboxone. Then we ended up on the road, and I'm doing dope the whole way down there, truck stops and stuff. And we get there, and I'm unpacking and stuff. At this point, at one of the truck stops, I was out of dope. So I threw the rig away so we wouldn't be driving with it. Threw all that stuff away. Granted, I have a big jar of weed, but we're down in Florida, and I'm like, okay, cool. I just got out of jail. This is my break, That was my last hurrah with the dope. That goes. I got the Suboxone now, and I'm unpacking my stuff, and I realize I forgot to bring the subs. The Suboxone was in Indiana.
Buddy.
Dude, yeah.
Oh, your heart sunk to your stomach.
Dude.
Buddy.
Oh my God.
You're a long way from home.
But you know what's crazy? Is I didn't withdraw much at all. I was there for a week and a half, and we were on the beach walking around, and it was hard to sleep that first 2 nights, but I don't know what it was, dude.
You hung tough.
I didn't feel it like I normally would have.
Mm-hmm.
It was like weird to me. I took it as like it was a sign, like
Sure.
from the heavens above.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My life is going to be good now.
You're
and
cured
this-
now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
you
is
got it out the way.
This is my moment. Long story short, I get back. I pick up some of the last check I had from Wendy's. I was still working at Wendy's this whole time, and my friend and I, when we're back in Indianapolis again, he's done this stuff with me here and there, but he wasn't like a user like this. Like, he would do some coke with me. He'd do a little bump of H with me just sometimes, but he wasn't he never got into it like that. But I'm like, hey, we're back in Indianapolis. For whatever reason, I go straight to the dealer. But I have my buddy with me because we had just got back. I don't know if we had got back and picked up my car or something, because we were with his family too. I don't remember how that happened, but it was me and him in my stick shift, and we were I was going to get dope, and he didn't know what I was doing. So I don't know if he thought I was getting something else or whatever I told him at the time. After I get the stuff, end up getting some dope, pull over in a CVS parking lot, and I was like, will you go in and get a bottle of water or something or whatever? I think he knew what I was doing because he was doing it with me. But again, he wasn't like, it was different, man. He never was. He was just like, this is a fun experience,
Right.
you know.
Right.
Didn't care that there was a
Something to
needle.
tell the grandkids.
Yeah, that was how he was. And his
Right.
parents smoked weed and stuff. They're all pretty hardcore, like just good people and like tough people, you know. When he goes into CVS, apparently I fell out and died.
Jumped the
in
gun.
car. Dude, yeah.
Damn.
I
So
don't
did
know
you
where-
send him on a dummy mission?
I guess.
to-
I don't know, because I had water, apparently.
Huh.
I asked him to go in and get water. I remember that.
And then
And he came back out, and he pulled me out of the car, and some old lady called an ambulance, called the police, and he's like trying CPR and stuff.
You're
and
legit dead.
I'm dead. Yeah, that
Wow.
was Easter of when I was 18, I think. Yeah, yeah, I was 18 because I had died. I woke up in the hospital a day and a half later. My mom was there. My stepdad was there. As soon as my eyes opened, he's yelling at me.
Secrets
dude.
out now.
Oh damn.
Yeah, that's when it came out. Jordan's parents were there. Yeah, that's when everybody knew, you know. And then I went to rehab.
Mm.
And I remember I was still 18 because we could smoke cigarettes. And I was 18, so they put me in like the adolescent wing. And you know, I stayed there for 30-something days, got out, went right back to it.
So no idea of like maybe I'll stop doing drugs.
I thought I was going to, and I thought I learned things because, you know, you get all
You probably
into
did
it.
learn.
Yeah, you
things.
get all
You did,
gung
yeah.
ho and like
Yeah, and you know, you're not withdrawing anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what I told myself is I only use because I withdraw.
Mhm.
You know, I only use because I feel sick. That's so. If I'm not feeling sick, then I'm good. And so insurance paid for 30 days or whatever. And it was a nice facility. It was fine. It was good. There were some kids in there for like nothing. You know, like their parents sent them there because they got
smoke
scared
weed or yeah.
or something. But I still had this massive ego. So by the time I wasn't withdrawing, I was like, you know, wanting to.
What am I doing here?
Yeah, like don't talk to me
Yeah,
like this.
yeah.
Like I'm not one of you. Like, you know, I knew it, but at the same time, I was like still kind of, you know, kid mouthed off to me, and like I'm like I'm gonna break your face because now I'm like feeling good again.
You
Yeah.
got a couple pounds on you.
Yeah, I'm not like, you know, it's just all ego, and that was how it went for the next in and out rehab. You know, I met
Did you meet a rehab girl?
I did.
Mm.
I did, but we didn't. It wasn't. It was just in rehab.
Oh, okay. It didn't.
So I didn't like 13th step it. You
okay.
know.
So like after rehab, it ended.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
over. I
All
didn't.
right.
I didn't want to go down that road.
I was gonna say that'd be a disaster.
I never wanted to have two of us.
Fuck
doing
Oh
no.
god,
that.
that's just
Fuck
another mouth to
no.
feed.
Yeah. Yeah, I went back to the, you know, I had a girlfriend, then I went back to the guy who I was getting the tar with. And at some point after I'd been to rehab twice, and this is all, like, now I'm like 19. Like, I'm still not that old, and I'd been to rehab a couple times. And I moved, my mom was, like, done with me at this point. She was, like, dropped me off the last time. I was, like, asking her for money. We had people come to our house, and you know, she had to pick me up in the hood a couple times. Like, it was at one
Poor
point she was
moms.
like, she's a saint. Like,
Yeah.
you know, my grandparents were like salt of the earth humans. Like, but at one point she looked at me and she was like, I don't have a son.
Damn.
Like, you're dead. Blocked my phone number. It was gone. A pastor local into town, like, bought me a hotel room for a few nights, doing the homeless thing. Dead of winter.
Ooh.
Ice everywhere. It was like one of those years where it was just ice storm.
Fuck.
I had a dealer that, you know, was like if you drive me to St. Louis, I'll do it. But I didn't have a car or anything at this point. I'm skipping through to kind of get towards some of the end of this journey because it was really that kind of thing over and over and over again. Different girlfriend, different rehab, different you know how it goes. And one of my friend's family took me in. I ended up getting into like speedballing, and now I'm like, I
Fuck.
won't do it without both.
Yep.
Yeah, you gotta have both.
Speedballing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a bad it's a
Yep.
bad road to go down.
It's
man.
Middle of the
favorite.
snow, dude. They have little kids still like in the house, and it's like snow outside, and I'm like speedballing and like running around the house trying to get my heart to like not stop. I'm like splashing, snow in my face, like just a ridiculous,
Train wreck.
absolute train wreck. I don't know how I OD'd in like a McDonald's parking lot, or no, in a McDonald's bathroom, and I fell and smoked my head on the sink and passed out. I woke up to paramedics on a stretcher. Police were like, I did everything I had on me, so they asked my girlfriend at the time, like, if you take him, we'll let you take him, but if you don't want him, we're taking him to jail. And she was like, don't take him to jail, Then I got arrested because for theft. Finally,
Petty theft.
it was at the time it was a felony.
Oh.
It was a D felony, and there was also some credit card fraud, stuff like that had ended up getting dropped. I had stolen checks, a bunch of stuff like that. Everything got dropped besides the D felony theft and a B misdemeanor reckless use of paraphernalia.
What were you stealing? Whatever.
Jewelry, like
Oh.
just yeah,
Anything.
Whatever.
Yeah,
I
How the
felt-
fuck are
So,
you
yeah.
stealing jewelry? Like,
people's
are we-
houses.
Oh, you just go to the house?
you're-
Okay.
okay.
Yeah,
I
gotta
thought
be-
you were doing like shoplifting.
No.
Okay.
No, and it's weird because I know like secrets are what kill, like when we carry secrets, like
Right.
you're still sick.
Right.
But it's also hard to discuss and talk about things I never got caught for still.
Oh, yeah.
Probably should, but it's tough going through it, and because I'm just now remembering a lot of this stuff too. But that was a turning point too. As I get arrested, I ended up doing like 6 months in
Damn.
county.
That's a haul in the county jail.
Yeah. I got a DOC number, but they never took me. I just ended up because it's 1 year due half. I don't know if it's like that here.
What do you mean?
Whatever you get sentenced, you do half.
Oh, no.
So like if you get sentenced to a year, you're doing 6 months in jail.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What if you get sentenced to like 3 years? You're doing a year
You're
and a
doing
half?
a year and a half.
In
Yeah.
county?
Yeah.
That's
No. If you get 3 years, you're going to the
Okay,
DOC.
so if it's like a year under?
a year and under,
half at
then
the...
you're in county.
F
Yeah.
that, buddy.
Yeah, there's a chance they'll pick you up and take you to RDC for processing just to shave your head and give you the number and all the things.
Yeah.
But most of the time the bus won't come. So I ended up going through that whole thing. I got locked up. Holy cow. I'm remembering now. I got locked up while I was in rehab. Remember I
that
told you I
work?
was living with a friend and their family and stuff? Well, I went to rehab while I was living with them.
Okay.
They had like interventioned me.
Ah.
Went to rehab, went to sober living, which was like right on the rehab campus, right outside the campus. There were apartments. Met people that were drinking and stuff, so we start drinking, smoking K2 and like all the things. I get kicked out. So my mom gets me a hotel room at like a Super 8 so I can still go to the meetings.
Right.
She was doing everything she possibly could without being involved with me. There, I meet people who are like doing crazy stuff, and one of them, I walked to CVS with one of them. One of the kids he stole a bottle of alcohol or something, and the police came, and I was standing there, like not thinking anything of it, and the police were there, and I was just showing, like, gonna tell them, like, they asked if I'd stay and give them a statement, because I didn't steal the whatever. It was
Right.
some other kid who also goes to that treatment place, like
Okay.
IOP. So I didn't like go there with him. I was there at the same time, but I knew who he was. And he like ran in, grabbed a bottle of alcohol, and ran out. And so I'm like, cool, yeah, whatever. And then when they get there, they're like, you have warrants. And I'm like,
Oh, buddy.
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess this is
Sick.
this is what's happening now.
Wow, that sucks.
Yeah, that's what led me to do the 6 months.
Arrested in rehab.
Yep. And I got out, and I was gonna buy a tent and just live in the woods by myself.
Mm-hmm.
I like found like my spirituality in jail, dude. I figured out how to like lucid dream and like all kinds of all I did was read books. I know I was only in there for 6 months, but I was working out and reading books.
It's a long time.
Dog, that's a haul in
That's
the
a
county.
lot
Dude,
of
it is. Yeah.
hours,
Yeah.
man.
That's a
Especially when you don't go
time.
outside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
just
not like
sitting
you
with
have
your
rec
own
time.
brain.
Oh, you guys didn't have rec either. We don't have
Nope.
rec in Franklin County. It's 24-hour
Nope.
lockdown.
Yeah.
Yep, that's how it is.
And it's
They'll-
fucking brutal.
They'll open the block up for like dinner time, TV time, but then it's back to your cell. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like 23 or what the
23 and 1.
I
Yeah,
don't think it
That's
is.
a long time.
There was more day room time than that. I just don't know what it was. But yeah, Hendricks County, that was where that was at. I got out, one of the guys I used to play music with, he like took me in, and out in one of those little tiny towns I was talking about that makes up the 3 towns,
Yeah.
but it was the one furthest away from everything. So I move into his basement and we like put a band back together, start playing music again. And everything is cool
So you're clean.
for a while. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Until I started, like, I was hanging out with another friend who's local, and he was, like, doing cocaine. So I'm like, now I'm at this point. I'm 19, and I'm like, or I'm maybe 20, and I'm like, yeah, I'm 20. I'm 20 because I couldn't buy alcohol yet. He was like, maybe, or I was like, maybe if I just don't do heroin or an opiate,
Then
I'll be just fine. You
Mhm.
know how that goes. So now I'm blasting cocaine in this basement, watching all of Lost, and like
It's a good show.
just like stuff like that. Like I'm in
Great
just
series.
playing music and just like being a freaking
Are you working?
piece of junk. No, I
No.
wasn't working. No, but people came over, and they always like had cocaine or whatever because we'd play. This is where they came to us to play music, so they would bring whatever they had until one of my old friends from back in the day, brought a little bit of. He brought some like they're like hydrocodone or no, they were it was methadone.
Mm.
I don't know why I thought it was hydrocodone. He brought methadone, and I took one like an idiot.
Game over.
And then we went to a party, and I saw another guy who ended up having a Roxy, and I took that.
Damn.
And then it was just
Right
right back. But I'm having to find rides from the middle of
Oh,
nowhere.
it's miserable.
Yeah, you lost your
Like,
meal ticket
yeah.
in that car, man.
Yeah, and I had a couple cars. There was a few cars in there actually, all gone, and 20 years old. I'm not even old enough to drink yet, and so I'm back to it. Somehow I met a girl through music. She needed a guitar player for a gig she was playing, so I applied, and then I ended up dating her, and we like did that whole thing because I was like, we're like weird, crazy, manipulative people, and so did I ever like actually belong with or even like any of these people? I don't necessarily think so. I think it's all about what can I get.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Even when you're not using, if you're not healed or healing, then that's where you're going.
what can I take from you?
Yeah, you're not thinking that, but at the end of the day, that's what it
That's
is.
what it is.
If we're being honest.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of crazy stuff that happened with that. Her and I ended up moving to Warsaw, Indiana, out in the middle of nowhere, 3 hours up north. And now I'm really like, taking the car when I can and driving all the way back to Indy to go to the hood.
Damn, dude.
God.
Rushing back, and I'm going 90, nodding out. Cars coming straight at me, and I'm barely missing them. And like
Jesus.
that didn't last long until I couldn't be away from Indy, and I broke up with her
Mm.
because I needed to be
You had
near.
to be there.
And another friend of mine that I hadn't seen in a long time didn't know that I was this level, and he let me stay with him. And one night, he would let me borrow his car because I didn't have one at the time. And so I'm like looking for a job and stuff, which I was, but I didn't really care at the same time.
Sure.
And I freaking take his car, and I got a bunch of Xanax somehow, and I ended up getting dope somehow, and I go to the city, I'm sitting on the side of the road, and I nod out until somebody's banging on the window. I wake up, and I just peel out and take off because I'm panicked. And I went straight, and I ran straight into the back of somebody, right in the middle of downtown. Guy gets out, and he's like, pull over, like, pull your car. He's like screaming at me, some older guy. And I pull over, and he gets out of his car, and I peel out and take off. And after I peeled out and took off, I'm like driving around, and somehow, because of how Indianapolis is set up, it's a bunch of one ways and it's all gridded, and and 465 is a big circle around Indianapolis.
God.
I'm just panicking, and I take off, and somehow I end up right back at the scene of the crime.
Oh boy!
And now I'm running out of gas.
Wow, buddy.
And I'm just panicking, and I had taken Xanax and stuff, and I'd done dope at the same time, and I hit. I come to a stop sign, and I didn't stop soon enough, and I skidded through the stop sign. There was a cop sitting right there, so she pulls me over. Right, and there's this whole investigation going on, like on the other side of town.
God.
And so she pulls me over, and she's like, your license is suspended. I don't even remember when that happened. Apparently, my license got suspended, like at some point.
At some point.
Yeah, and I was like, oh no, I didn't know that.
Thanks for letting me know,
Yeah,
officer.
I'm so sorry. And I was like, I just didn't see the stop sign, you know. She basically told me to pull over and said, can you have somebody come and get you because your license is suspended?
Wow, buddy.
I'm just waiting on the radio call or the whatever that's going to tell her that, you know what I mean? And I'm in a car that's not mine, and they're like not asking me about it or anything. And so I call my buddy who I had lived with before I met that girl out in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, dude, I need someone to just come get me. And he's like, I can come get you, but it's going to be like 2 hours before I get there because middle of nowhere downtown. Yeah. And I was like, cool. And so the cop's sitting there with me for like 30 minutes. Yeah. She made me give me her keys, or she made me give her my keys. And eventually she's like looking at her phone. She's like, look, I'm getting tired of waiting. She was like, just don't let me see you drive away, and gave me my keys back.
Wow.
And so then I drive back into town. I curbed the car, blew out the front wheel,
buddy.
Pulled into the Wendy's that I used to work at. I'm all over the place. Somebody calls the cops. I'm inside, charging my phone or something. Somebody calls the cops. Cops come. They're talking to me. And I was like, they couldn't see the car like all the way because it was pulled in like by the dumpster. And I was like, I told him something like I had either gotten a flat tire and I pulled over, but they took my ID and they were like, your license is suspended. And I was like, I know. I had already gotten pulled over, and that's why I'm not driving. So I'm waiting on someone to come get me. The cop let me use his phone and then left.
It's unbelievable.
How bad's the car fucked up now?
Dude, I was driving probably 3 miles where it's just sparks coming out. And this
what
is
about,
not
like,
my car.
the front of the car that smashed into the other car?
It wasn't too bad.
Not too bad?
No. The car I hit was an SUV, and I was in a little like
Okay.
I don't know,
So you
Grand
probably
Am or
went
something. I went right underneath
under.
it. So it like got up by the like halfway up the hood, was a big dent, but other than that it wasn't bad. Like I didn't like smash into him.
Right.
I like just kind of went right underneath him.
Excuse me.
Well, eventually I just got in the car and like drove it to a little parking lot away from the Wendy's, a little gas station, and I posted on Facebook like I'm stuck, somebody give me a ride, and some person from my school that I hadn't seen in like forever, what felt like forever, picked me up and took me back to that apartment that I was staying at.
What's your buddy say?
The next morning, he was like, "Where's my car?" And so he has his mom take him to go get the car.
Oh boy.
And he comes back and was like, "What the fuck?" He looked at me and he said, "Are you like?" He was like, "Are you all there in the head?" like pretty much, you know. And I was like, there was nothing left to be said.
No.
So I packed up and
Yeah. I mean, that's
Left.
it.
to my parents, I had been living with the girl in Warsaw. I came back and was living with him, and you know, they hadn't seen me in a long time. So I told them, I was like, you know, I'm good. This isn't working out. Can I please move back home? And my dad came and got me, my stepdad, and I
Wow.
moved back home. And then a detective showed up at my house the next day, at their house, at
about
my
the
parents'
car?
house. Yeah, about the car.
Perfect.
About the one in the city where you
Yeah.
smashed into the
Yeah.
guy?
Yep. So the guy I hit was a Marion County judge.
Oh, man,
Ah.
that suck.
Yes.
there
How'd
you
they
go.
catch you? Camera or?
Well, they went to my buddy's house first because it was his car.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, it was him.
How'd they know whose car, though? How'd they find out the car make, or the, you know?
Because I had been pulled over like 3 times, I think.
Yeah.
Tags.
One
Yeah.
of the,
Yeah. I'm sure somebody got it. You know,
Certainly one of the officers
Right.
got the tags.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. But, and I'm sure that
funny.
they were pressing charges on me too. I don't even really know because I eventually was with a guy. He was like, and I was living with my parents, and he's like, hey, let's go get some Roxy's. And I'm like, cool, let's go. We go pick them up. We pull into a parking lot or a neighborhood to do them. And this is when fentanyl started, you just started hearing about it. So we would look for it. And it was H, but it was,
Yeah.
you know, it was
Yeah.
like gray and it was like a different color, different shade and stuff. And then people were doing the patches, but I had not seen a pressed fentanyl pill at that point that I was aware of. But I had, you know, the pins and needles, the different you know, up until then I had done you know, Dilaudids and just really whatever, any opiate that you can
Think of.
Yeah, and the OCs were still big. I'd get them whenever I could, but then they became
Yeah. Overly expensive.
well, they were
And
the
they changed the formula.
yeah, the formula. So we'd try to cold water extract it
Yeah,
and stuff.
Oh,
I've
everything.
tried so many, the microwave.
Microwave
Yes.
trick.
Microwave. And
Yeah, but as soon as that happened, it's like, okay, that's done. And you know, did all this stupid stuff. I ended up getting arrested again because the guy I was with, you know, he was like, we got pulled over, and he was in the military, and he was like, all of his stuff is in the center console of his car. I was like, okay, cool. And then his girlfriend came and picked him up. I went to jail. And I also forgot I had a needle in my pocket. And so the cop put his hand in my pocket.
Oh,
He was
big no-no.
pissed.
Big no-no.
Yes.
Yeah.
He did not treat me very well the rest of the trip. So I ended up getting arrested.
Was it capped, at least?
Yeah, it was capped.
Thank God.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah. It was capped. But so I ended up going to jail again. I don't even remember how long I was there. 3 months or so. And then they're like, Devon, you're released. And I'm like, cool. So I have my little thing, and I'm walking out, and I'm literally getting on the elevator, and the guy was like, hold on. And so I'm like, walk out of the elevator. I had a hold in Marion County because of that.
man.
And I called my attorney over there and said, I'm in jail in another county. He's like, don't worry, I got it taken care of. I'll reschedule your court date and stuff. They didn't,
Of course not.
nothing, you know. I get it though. I'm just a number at that point.
Yeah.
I was an idiot too, so I'm not even mad about it. But so then I do the rest of it at Marion County Jail 1. And then, you know, I get out. I had moved to Bloomfield, Indiana. I was like baling hay, doing good, but I was drinking. But I was like, just wanted to be like a middle of the country. Like I wanted to be like blue collar. Like I just wanted to leave it all behind. At that
Drink like a
point.
gentleman,
Yes.
bale some fucking hay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I was with a girl, and that didn't work out. So I met another girl who was doing okay in life. I was doing okay in life. I started landscaping. I got into trades, and I started actually doing things, but the drug part was still just barely there. But I was like doing ketamine and things like that as I could, you know.
You can't say the drug part's barely there and then drop ketamine.
Just doing some K.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember when all of these things happened, and you know, but in my infinite stupidity, I thought that I could like I would come and meet with my that girl and I actually got a little place together, and we were actually going to do the adult thing, but like what I thought was a surprise was me bringing home a bag of ketamine that I found somebody had. We can do this together. And she looked at me with straight disgust.
Yeah.
Like, that's when I was like, okay, this isn't. And then I had an infection in my mouth. And dentist was like, well, we can't operate on it until it's cleared out. So here's the antibiotics and here's some hydrocodone. And I was like, okay, stupid, you know. And then I just kept going back, and they would just give me more hydrocodone, like, for months.
Damn.
Yeah. Yep. I'd just go back and say, I think it's still infected and it still hurts. And they would just give me more hydrocodone until eventually they cut it off.
Figured it out.
Of course, it's a different time, too.
It was. It was a whole different time.
Nowadays, they're not doing that shit.
No, this was when the opiate thing, like, it had swarmed these towns all at this time. Like, you could go in for a headache.
The Midwest was fucking ravaged.
Dude, yeah, because people were going to Florida and going to all these different places to just get massive amounts of pills. And so they'd bring them back to these towns, like, that I lived in and make money.
Make a ton of cash.
Dude, yeah, you didn't need that much to, like, in terms of, like, to find that stuff.
Right.
Back then. Doctors were just handing it out. It's crazy to think about, really. So I did all this craziness. Her and I ended up using again with her. We had a house, and not with her. She wasn't using, but I ended up, because of the tooth thing and the hydrocodone, I called up a dealer and ended up buying dope again. Went through the whole gamut. I found a music treatment, like a music recovery program that Wes Gear, he used to like play in the band Korn back in the day, and he was in like Head PE. He had put this whole thing together.
Really?
And I got a grant and went out there and did this like music program with him. It was crazy.
That's kind of cool.
I flew out to California. They met me, like, had a little sign with my name on it, and we were doing this. I had to go through a detox. They made me do like go to a detox facility before I was able to like go into this thing with them. But after I did like the 10-day detox or whatever it was, they put me in a big house with like a bunch of other people playing different music and stuff. And then we went and did like a rock to recovery is what it was called, where we would just like write songs and stuff with other recovering
right up your
people.
alley.
Yeah. And then eventually I flew back to Indianapolis because I thought I wanted to be with the girl I had left. And that didn't work out. And
when was the final trip to rehab?
Yes. I'm sorry it took so long to get there.
No, you're fine.
The last time, it was right after I got back from California. I had moved in with like a couple buddies because they didn't work out with her. And we just like, it was like small frat house. And so once again, guy brings over some whatevers. I'm making like shroom tea, and I'm just right back to like being the wild crazy. And then I get back into opiates. This is all really quick. So after I get out of that, after I come back from California, it's like boom, immediate, like right back into all this stuff. And at one point I was like, I'm taking Valium and doing dope like in heavy amounts. And I went to a literal detox facility. They had no program whatsoever. They put me in a room, and I was detoxing off of benzos and opiates. They put me in a room with a bed, and it's like tile and like concrete walls, because I didn't have anything at that point. I couldn't pay for anything.
Yeah.
So I'm throwing up everywhere. I'm hallucinating. That was the worst I've ever withdrawn by far.
I'm sure.
I was full on hallucinating, seeing people, talking to them. They were coming in, yelling at me to clean it up. I didn't even know where I was. I didn't know what planet I was on until eventually, like a few days later, I came out of it. And
it's the benzos that fucking gotcha.
That's wild, bud.
I was I was talking to people. I didn't know that I was in a facility, because when I checked myself in, I was like barred out and on dope. So I didn't even know where I was at. But after that, I left. After like 14 days of that, I used once, and then I thought, it didn't feel right. And I literally stopped, and I've never used ever since then.
Wow.
I quit. I vape. I quit smoking cigarettes. I quit drinking. I haven't had a sip of alcohol. I quit all drugs. I don't smoke weed, nothing. And I just took it one day at a time, literally, until years had passed.
You quit everything.
Quit all of it, just at once. And I had already gone through the detox, the brutal part of the detox.
Right.
And, dude, I was like, I need to do something. After that didn't work out, I moved back in with my parents, which was crazy. They took me in I got back with that girl for a little bit after I got clean. So there was actually like 2 years. I say a little bit, but it was like 2 years. 2 more years that I was with her clean, making something of myself, learning trades and things like that. Still didn't work out. Too much water under the bridge. Moved back into my parents because they knew I'd been clean for a couple years. Stayed with them, and I was working. Like, I wanted to learn business. I wanted to learn finance. I wanted to... My mindset changed entirely. And I wish that they would come up with another term for addiction, to be honest, because I truly believe that it's a culmination of it's like a multi-diagnosis of mental issues. There are people that I would call, it's not the right term, but there are people that I would call addicts who still have not used drugs. They have the same exact behaviors, the same exact mental,
there are the arguments there because, before I even picked up a drink or a drug, I would steal shit. I would
Exactly.
I was stealing. I remember I stole my friend's holographic Pokemon card, and I stole my dad's quarters to go buy an RC car at Radio Shack, and all those things. I was doing all that shit without a drink or a drug, and I was a kid.
Dude, yeah, exactly. It's the mindset, and there's people who are adults that will, unfortunately, they're gonna be in a box forever, and they call it addicts. But in reality, I think that it would be less stigmatized if they could figure out how to talk about it in terms of the mental health. Because I don't think I would have ever gone down that road if it weren't for the environment plus the anxiety and OCD issues.
I was going to say, you're dual diagnosis, obviously.
That's exactly the right.
So was I.
Dual diagnosis.
Yeah, that's...
I think that's crucial.
Yeah.
Personally. But since, dude, I'm married now.
Congrats.
I've been married for several years, and when I met my now wife, she had 2 little girls, and I've raised them. One is 8 and one is 10 now, and we have a baby boy that's on the way. It's to be born next month.
Okay, then.
I got really lucky, found people to kind of learn from that mentored me. Started at the ground level of some businesses, the service-based businesses, blue-collar type businesses. And I got really, really lucky because I was at the very ground level, and they showed me, and I was a part of building. And since then, I've been able to start businesses. I've been able to I manage a pretty successful business now. And it's all the things that I used when I was using. It's all of those same traits that got me here. But that's why, when I talk about the meetings and stuff, I believe it's good. Especially if you're new in recovery, you need to be in a community like that.
Yeah.
That's why I also don't look down on Suboxone and stuff like that, because, dude, I get it. I completely understand it. What you need is time away from that life. Whatever gets you there. Whatever gets you that year away from that life. And I'm talking away from it entirely.
Completely.
Away from the people, away from everything. Whatever gets you to where now, even people who are on Suboxone, by the time they have to face that, now they have a support network again. Now they have a job again. Maybe they're doing things again. Maybe their life is getting better now. So you don't have the soul-crushing guilt and anxiety, even if you do have to go through Suboxone withdrawals. So that's why people talk bad about that. I don't look down on it at all.
I used to. I
did too.
Yeah, I was big time fuck methadone, fuck Suboxone, it's a
Yep.
ball and chain. And then my mom died of an overdose.
Yep.
And my whole view shifted because if she had been on Suboxone, she wouldn't have died.
No.
That's it. Because that shit, I mean, let's not forget, it can kill you.
Yeah.
Very easily.
Yeah.
One thing I've started doing is asking people, if you could deliver a message to somebody that's still struggling out there, what would it be?
That's a great question. I think about where I was and what somebody may or may not have said to me, because there wasn't a lot of information back then. There was not a lot of advice. There was
none.
Yeah.
To be
Exactly.
quite frank.
Exactly. It was a different ball game. But what I've learned is that what is out there for you is like beyond your wildest possibilities. Like, you can't even imagine it. What's actually out there. Life is actually awesome, and it's a privilege to be able to live it. Things happen for us and for you, not to you. So you've got to be able to change the mindset and stop thinking as though life is doing all these things and beating you down, because all we have to do is literally put it into a vision, and if that's your vision and that's what you think about, then that means that's the path you're walking towards. It's already in existence. Whatever you want to do is already, as long as you've thought it up, it already exists. It's already done. You just have to walk long enough towards it to where you get a chance to see it. And it's really important, because once you envision that, every move that you're making is going to be in the name of achieving that. And if you can go out and do all these drugs and live through, especially now with like fentanyl, 7-0, all these things that are wildly addictive, if you live through it now, then you have every ability and skill you might need or can learn to go out and like make some amazing things happen.
So you're a firm believer that the skills are transferable as well?
Absolutely.
I agree 100%.
Absolutely. You just need someone to point you in the right direction or something. Just, you're like a cannon. You just need to
Yeah, like
aim.
I sold drugs and I'm a hell of a salesman.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's just, it's transferable skill. I didn't go to school.
Exactly.
But I can sell the fuck out of whatever.
And you know that even if you have a shitty day now, it's not even anything almost compared to what you had before.
No.
So it's all good.
No, it's really not.
Everything is cool.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be such a big deal.
No.
And if you live like that, then, I mean, truly, everybody starts somewhere.
Yeah.
Don't let it, I guess what I'm saying is, don't make this your whole identity for your whole life. I was using hardcore for probably 6 years, maybe. I'm 33 now. I have longer clean time than I did using time. And someday I'll be 43 and 53. And that time I was using will be a blip. So you don't want to just let it be your entire identity.
I like that.
That's how I operate, at least.
I like that a lot. I don't think we've heard anybody say that.
Mm-mm.
That's great. Dude, your story is insane. How young you were, the things you did.
How young you still are.
I know.
Yeah, like
A whole life ahead of you,
yeah,
man.
dude. Thank
Yeah.
you for driving out here and taking the time to share it with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me
Means
on.
a lot.
You guys are doing awesome, doing God's work. I will continue keeping a close eye on it.
Thank you, man. Thank
What's
you so much.
7-0? I don't know what that is.
Look it up.
Yeah.
Look it up. Google.
It's legal.
Siri.
It's legal for now.
7-0.
You can buy it in smoke shops,
Oh, all right.
and it's kratom.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's not.
But it's like upgraded kratom.
It's
Upgrade 'em?
it's like the molecule in kratom that.
They like fucking took the alkaloid and put it in a tab or something.
Yeah.
Every time I get on live, people are fucking asking me left and
Yep.
right about that shit.
Yep. People are losing their lives.
But I don't know anything. I don't know anything about it.
I
So
don't-
like,
It wasn't a thing back then, but people are getting. I mean, it's like the new wave. It's like the
Yeah.
same thing.
Just,
It's
yeah,
like it's like oxys. It's the same exact thing, except you can go to a head shop and buy it.
yeah,
It's insane.
it is.
Yeah, it's
Let's take a
Man.
trip, boys. Let's go to the head shop. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, let's head to the head shop.
Let's go to the local head shop protesting.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you so much,
Thanks,
man.
brother.
Thank you guys.
You're the man.
It was awesome.
All right.